Hello friends, welcome to Universe of Naruto X. If you love Naruto what if stories and anime explanations, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Now let's begin today's story. It's been a few weeks since returned to the village and became Hokage. Needless to say, things were actually doing better since she was in charge. Members of the council who knew she would not be on their side tried to convince the fire daimyo that she was not fit for the Hokage position. They used her debt as a reason why, but they were quickly shot down when they found out that she paid off all of her debt and didn't owe anybody anything. They brought up her alcohol problem and complained about her drinking on the job, but they were countered when Tsunade told the feudal lord Hiruzen was always smoking on the job and she knew for a fact that it wasn't cigarettes or tobacco he was smoking. All in all, the fire daimyo approved of becoming Hokage and she was crowned that very next day. She went through files thanks to Naruto telling her about the corruption and nearly destroyed the village when she found out how much the civilian council owed in taxes. Every civilian council member except for Mebuki Haruno were all forced to pay the money they owed and were kicked off of the council along with 2 years in jail. Also had Nar show her the weak points in the village and needless to say she was surprised that the village hasn't been invaded yet. She gave Nar an A- rank mission that he could do whenever and all he had to do was prank places with holes in the security until it's basically impossible for him to get through. Nate also discovered how terrible the ninja academy was and fired every teacher except for Aruruka who was the best teacher they had. She replaced all of the teachers with retired shinobi who wanted the job and the spots were quickly filled. The new ninja academy was now a more practical academy that focused on test simulations and a more hands-on approach rather than the majority of the years being theoretical. The hospital was another big thing on her list. It was horrible to be blunt. Every doctor had to demonstrate what they had to do with Shizune being the one to make sure they were doing it right. She also got new medical supplies since the ones they had were outdated. The medicine was also being taken from the hospital, so had a tunin watching the medicine room and report back to her at the end of each shift about who went in there and what they needed. Before the person could enter, they had to sign on a sheet of paper what they needed, how much they needed, and what the patient needed it for. Nate promised Naruto that she would fix the red light district since that was the only place he was really treated normally. But she told him that it would take time since she has other things to deal with. When asked what she had in mind, Tsunade told him that she would have to hire people to build new orphanages, a ninja school, and a hospital in the red light district. Needless to say that Naruto was ecstatic. The landlord to his apartment building that hated him changed the locks on his apartment while he was out on a mission and missed rent. But it was illegal if a ninja was out on a mission to kick them out for late rent. Nar decided to be petty and get back at the landlord for years of abuse he suffered. Nar went straight to Tsunade and asked to buy his apartment complex since only him and the landlord lived there. The building was surprisingly cheap and well within Naruto's budget. Once the purchase was complete, Nar went to the landlord and kicked him out of the apartment. The reasons listed were years of abuse, letting people steal his stuff, constantly changing his locks, failure to keep the building up to code, and smoking in a non-smoking building. Once the landlord refused, Naruto politely signaled for an ambu to remove him from the property. Nar spent the last few weeks having shadow clones fix the apartment, and he even expanded his apartment, adding an extra room, a bigger bathroom, and better appliances. After the building was finished, he gave rooms to homeless people in the red light district and even the women at the brothel houses. He didn't have them pay rent since they looked out for him as much as possible when he was living on the streets and he wouldn't budge. All they had to worry about was their food and everything else. Nar bought the homeless people their food, but they told him they'd pay him back as soon as they got back on their feet, but Nar waved them off. Missions were a big problem for Tsunade, mainly the D-rank missions. She changed the rules up and the civilians were not happy. Only the elderly and disabled were allowed to ask for a mission such as dog walking, fence painting, building a fence, grocery shopping, help with their gardening, and mail delivery. If you were not elderly or disabled, you had to pay triple the amounts for the D-rank mission. Speaking of missions, Naruto was given a lot of back pay once Shizune discovered he was getting paid significantly less than Sasaki and Sakura when he did D-rank missions during his time on Team 7. The fire daimyo was impressed that Tsunade managed to get all of that done in a few weeks and even asked if she would like his position, which she declined with zero hesitation. The Leaf Village was up on the rise, and other villages sent spies to find out what was going on, but they were easily captured and sent back in a stasis scroll with a note saying not to do it again. Also wary of Danzo since he hadn't been seen since the meeting she had with the elders, but she was prepared for anything. Naruto over the past few weeks trained a lot and even went on missions with other Chunin and sometimes Jonin. Of course, none of them liked him due to his gentry status. But after he had to constantly save them on a mission, some of them changed their views about him. The only missions he was sent on were bandit camp eliminations and a parcel delivery to another village. He finally caught up with Asuma one time when they were assigned the same mission and Asuma gave him some tips on strengthening his wind chakra nature. Nar was able to split a leaf easily, but Asuma told him to use his wind chakra to cut a rock in half and then try to cut a waterfall. The result of this was Nar being able to cut a rock in half, but he was making slow progress on the waterfall part. He met with Yuga and Karin a few times when they were free, and he honestly had fun. Karin did help him with his genjutsu and even tested her skills against him with his Hishigan activated and was honestly surprised none of her genjutsu worked on him. She really thought it was a joke since the sharing is able to fall under genjutsu, but it could easily counter it. She mistakenly told him that she tried to put Itachi Chia under a genjutsu, and he just gave a blank look. He wanted to laugh at her, but then realized she could put him in an S-rank genjutsu, so he chose to laugh at her once he got home. Yuga also trained him a bit when she couldn't even gave him his mother's sword. It was a 24 in katana with an all-red blade and a black and red hilt with the Uzumaki symbol on it. He struggled a bit with the sword, but Yuga told him that he just needed to get used to it first. She didn't teach him any jutsu since she wanted him to get used to the sword first. The results of the Chunin exams were also given out, and Shikamaru was the only person to get promoted to Chunin. Right now, he was walking through the hospital to see Sasaki. He didn't want to, but he kind of felt bad about him being in the hospital. Hey, Sakura, Nar said as he saw her about to enter Sasake's room. Nar, where have you been? Sakura asked. I've been out in missions. Nar said, how's that possible? You weren't with us on our last mission. We honestly could have used the extra help. If you were there, Sasuke wouldn't be in the hospital. Sakura said, I thought he was in here from when he ran into his brother. Nar said, no, he was released from that incident. He was hurt after we ran into a rogue ninja on our last mission. Sasaki won the fight after he kicked the guy off of the cliff, but he was badly injured. Sakura said, I see. Nar said, and they entered the room. Hey, Sasaki, look. I brought you some apples. You do like them, right? I wonder where I put that knife. I had before, Sakura said and started to look around for the knife. Naruto helped her find the knife, and this caused them to start bickering between one another. As all of this was going on, Sasuke was too busy thinking about all the strength Naruto had acquired in a short amount of time. The 7 heavenly breaths, multiple chakra natures, and jutsu to go along with them, the jutsu and summoning jutsu. He also remembered how Naruto easily defeated Gar twice in the same day, but he was barely able to scratch him. He even thought back to when Itachi told him he's not interested in him when they fought and how he was after Nar instead. He was brought out of his thoughts when Sakura offered him an apple slice that she peeled for him and he slapped it out of her hand. Nar noticed Sasaki glaring at him and knew what it was about, but he decided to play dumb. What are you glaring at me for? She's the one who offered you the apple. Nar said, I want you to fight me. Fight me right now. Sasuke said, we're in a hospital and you just got patched up. A fight with me should be the last thing you want. Nar said, shut up and fight me. Sasuke said and activated his sharing. Oh, the Sharingan trying to intimidate me. Are you sorry, but I'd rather not beat up a_. Maybe when you're healed up, we can fight and I'll humble you. Naruto said and Sasaki got in his face. You said you wanted to fight me, right? Well, now you've got your chance. Sasaki said, that was before. I'm looking past you now. I want to fight your brother. He's much stronger than me and you combined. You don't even pique my interest. Nar said, and that pissed Sasuke off. I will be the one to fight Itachi. Do you understand me? Fight me, Sasaki said. No, Nar said and turned to leave. But Sasaki threw the knife at Naruto's head and it was easily caught. If you're in such a rush to get your kicked, then fine. Where are we going to do this? Nar asked. Follow me. Sasaki said. Rooftop. Last chance. Sasaki. You can still go back inside to avoid suffering humiliation. Nar said, an idiot like you has no business acting all high and mighty. Sasaki said, high and mighty. I think you've got me confused with yourself. You're the one who was handed everything you wanted ever since your family was killed. I'm as humble as you can get. I went from sleeping on the streets and in the forest for 2 years to becoming a Chunin. You are the most high and mighty person in this village, and you act like that just because you're from the Uchiha clan. Nar said, this village wouldn't be around if it weren't for the Uchiha clan. We're the most powerful clan ever. A clanless loser like you wouldn't know anything about that. Sasaki said, the most powerful clan ever and yet they were wiped out in a single night by one person. Clanless. I'll tell you something about my clan. They were wiped out before I was born and it took Kumo, Iwa, and Kiri to wipe us out, and yet their forces were reduced to less than half. Nar said, let's just do this. Sasaki said, put on your headband and we will. I'll wait. Nar said, not to worry. I don't need that thing. There's no reason to put it on because you won't even be able to scratch my forehead. Sasaki said, yet you have your sharing gun activated. If you were so sure that this would be as easy as you say, then you wouldn't have your sharing gun activated. Nar said, you honestly think we're equals? Sasaki asked, no, you're beneath me and it's eating you up inside knowing that the loser and dead last has surpassed you quite easily. Naruto said, enough talk. Sasaki said. Sasaki ran at Naruto and threw a punch at Naruto, but it was easily blocked. Naruto threw a feint right hook at Sasaki, which he knew his sharing would follow. And once Sasaki went to block the punch, Naruto kicked his legs from underneath him and kicked Sasaki into the fence that was on the roof. Sasaki quickly recovered and went for a spinning back kick, but Nar caught it and swung him around. Sasaki planted his hands on the ground and twisted his body, then kicked Nar into the air. Once Nar landed, Sasuke came running at him with a barrage of punches and kicks that were all avoided. Nar decided to use an old trick he hasn't used since he started training with Jiraiya and created a sea of shadow clones. Sasaki managed to take out a few of the shadow clones until he was overwhelmed and they started to punch and kick him all over the roof. Sasaki jumped in the air and after a few hand signs, he used the fireball jutsu and burned everything on the roof to get rid of the sea of shadow clones. He saw Nar standing there unharmed and he created the Chidori in his hand as he was falling out of the air. Nar just stood there and waited for him to get closer before he created the Rasen in his hand. Sakura came running at them, begging them to stop. And once their jutsu nearly collided, Kakashi came in and threw both of them away with ease. The sound of metal being pierced was heard and the sound of metal exploding followed by water was heard as well. What are you two doing up here? That was a bit too far for a simple sparring match. Kakashi said. Nar mastering the Rinnegan already. How can he use that jutsu? Kakashi thought. Sasaki tore his hand out of the water container and water came pouring out at a rapid pace while Naruto's only had a small little stream like a water fountain which made him smirk. What were you thinking? Were you going to kill Naruto Sasaki? What are you doing? Giving yourself over to a sense of superiority. The size of the Chidori, there wasn't one to be aimed at a comrade of the same village as you. Why such infantile behavior? Kakashi asked, and it was Naruto who decided to respond. It's because I was once the dead last, and now he's beneath me. That and his brother kicked his after he foolishly left the village without permission. Nar said and Sasaki yelled trying to attack Nar, but Nar just kicked him off of the roof. That was uncalled for, Nar. Kakashi said, he's your genin. You should have focused on fixing his attitude instead of personally training him every day. Nar said, we'll talk about this later. We have a team meeting tomorrow anyway about your attendance. Kakashi said, that's because I'm not on Team 7 anymore. I was promoted to Tunin after I came back from my mission with Pervy Sage. Naruto said and walked away. I'm assuming it was you who taught him the Rinnegan. Don't you think he's a little too young to be handling that jutsu? After all, he could have killed Sasaki had something gone wrong. I know you want to protect him from the Akatsuki, but to think you would teach him that jutsu. Kakashi said, you're one to talk. Teaching an unstable genin that Chidori knowing he's a flight risk and is shrouded in darkness. A bit hypocritical, don't you think? It's obviously bad blood between them. But where did it come from? Jiraiya asked, their relationship is like the one between you and Orochimaru in the past. Kakashi said, no, this is different. With me and Orochimaru, it was always a one-sided rivalry. This one seems to be more about Sasuke being jealous that Nar is able to close the gap between them with the slightest training and then surpass him when he's trained seriously. Nar was seeking validation of his strength from everyone including Sasaki. But now that he's surpassed him, Sasuke can't stand the fact that the roles are reversed. Nar is looking past him now and he's aiming to surpass you and eventually me. They both have something driving them on. Naruto wants to become Hokage and Sasuke's drive is his hatred for Itachi. Jiraiya said, right, I'll leave Nar to you and I'll deal with Sasuke myself. Kakashi said, Nar. Nar was walking through the village streets thinking about the fight. He really didn't want to fight Sasaki and it was proven since he didn't even put half the power into that Rasengan. The old him would have bragged about knowing an awesome jutsu that Sasaki didn't know. But he's different now. As he was walking, he noticed Jiraiya leaning up against a wooden fence waiting for him, and he just sighed. Did Kakashi send you to yell at me? Nar asked, no, but we need to talk. The Rasengan isn't a move you use against a comrade in the village. Jiraiya said, I know. Honestly, I didn't want to use it against him. I don't know if you were there or not, but I didn't make the Rinnegan until the very last second, and it wasn't even at half its strength. Nar said, Then why did you agree to fight him in the first place? Jiraiya asked. I wasn't going to fight him. I told him to heal up first and then walked away, but he threw a knife at the back of my head and that's what made me fight him. He got what he wanted and got his kicked in the process. Nar said, now that you've beaten him, what's next? Jiraiya asked. Honestly, it's like I told him, I'm aiming for bigger people to defeat. I mean, the Akatsuki is after me and Orochimaru is still around. They're the ones I need to beat and not worry about some schoolyard rivalry. Nar said, then that means you'll have to start training extra hard since you've got control over your wind and water chakra natures now. You should start working on your ice. Jenk Jiraiya said, I still haven't cut the waterfall yet, and I can't get to the waterfall without Granny Sunade being around since the only waterfall in the village is on the Hokage training grounds. Nar said, then you should have her take you there. Now that I think about it, since she can use the you-know-what, maybe you should ask her to help you with your Jenk. Jiraiya said she already said she'd help me with it, but I've been out on missions a lot, so I haven't had time to try it out. Nar said, I see. Well, I'll be out of the village for a few days, so use this time to train and rest up. I might bring you along on a mission with me when I get back, so you need to be prepared. Jiraiya said, you got it, pervy sage. Nar said and vanished. Stop calling me that, Jiraiya yelled. Early morning Hokage office. Now that Shikamaru is here, what did you need to see us for? Naruto asked. Sasaki Uchiha apparently slipped out of the village last night. I'm quite certain he's headed for the village in the sound. Tsunade said. He left. How is that possible? Shikamaru asked. It's not really shocking. I mean, look at him. He craves power by any means. And if he likes the power from the curse mark Orochimaru gave him, why not go to him? He's been a flight risk since his clan died. Nar said, well, I have a mission for the two of you. This will be Shikamaru's first mission as a Chunin, but I'll put him in charge. Naruto, I know you've been on quite a few missions as a Chunin, but you already have more experience leading a team, and I want to test him out. Your mission is to find Sasaki Uchiha and bring him back to the village before he crosses the border. Assemble the best team you can and head out immediately. This is an A- rank mission. I would usually send a squad of Jonin, but we lack village security still and most Jonin are out on a mission. Dismissed, said, outside. Who will our teammates be? Shikamaru asked, you're the captain. You decide. Nar said, we need a tracker, so Kiba and Akamaru are in. We'll need power so I can grab Choji. You pretty much have all the other areas covered, but I have a feeling you'll be the one fighting Sasaki, and we don't know how many or how powerful his traveling companions are. Shikamaru said, so, you figured it out as well. Nar said, yeah, from what I can remember from the Chunin exams, the Sound Village was new, and that means nobody knows where it's located. The only way he could get there is if he has somebody helping him get there. Shikamaru said, good. I'm going to go get 2 more people to help on this mission. And I'll meet you at the gate in 5 minutes. Nar said and vanished. Hyuga compound again. Hi Ashi. Hyuga said as he was watching Hinata and Neji spar. Lord Hiashi. Naruto Uzumaki is here to see you. He says it is an emergency. A Hyuga servant said Neji Hinata that is enough for today. Hiashi said yes sir. They said and bowed as Naruto entered the dojo. What brings you here, Nar? I was unaware of any meetings today. Hai said. Sorry for showing up interrupted, but I need Nae and Hinata for an important mission. Nar said, what rank is the mission? Neji asked. A ranked. Nar said, what happened? Hayashi asked. Sasaki escaped the village and is heading towards Orochimaru. We're behind a few hours, but with 2 Bakugan users on our team, we should be able to handle this mission and whatever it throws at us. The team is me, Shikamaru, Shoji, Ka, and Akamaru, Hinata and Nae. Nar said. Very well, Hiashi said and nodded to them. When do we leave? Neji asked. Now, Naruto said and vanished. Main gates. Everybody understands the mission, right? Shikamaru asked. Find Sasaki and take out anyone who tried to stop us. Hiba said, that's right. Now, let's move out. Nar said, Naruto, I'm supposed to be the leader, remember? Shikamaru asked, what's up with you acting like the boss, Nar? Taking orders from somebody as lazy and unmotivated as Shikamaru doesn't sit well with me either, but still. Ka said, none of you get to decide who's the leader. Shikamaru is the only one of us who is a Chunin. That means the elders of the village clearly believe he's got what it takes to be the leader. Shoji said, I was promoted by the feudal lord himself, and I've already been on missions as a leader. Now, we need to hurry up and move. Nar said, we need a plan just in case they try to ambush us. Nae said, that's why I brought you and Hinata along. Your Byakugan along with hers and Kiba and Akamaru's nose tracking ability should give us time to prepare for an ambush. Nar said this is the formation. Ka will be in the front since he's tracking Sasuke's scent. Shoji and I will be on the left and right sides. Nar, you'll bring up the rear while Nae and Hinata are in the middle with their Bakugan active keeping an eye of any kind of ambush. Move out, Shikamaru said, and they were about to leave when Sakura came running up to them. Wait, Naruto, please bring Sasaki back home. I tried to stop him last night, but it wasn't enough. Sakura said, that is the mission, so I already have to do that. Nar said, let's go. Shikamaru said as they left. Few hours later, as the retrieval team were on their way to grab Sasaki, they were unaware that the group Sasaki was with had to stop to prep him for something. So, they were surprised when they caught up to them quicker than they thought. Eventually, they had to split off and fight the enemy as there were 4 of them. Shoji broke off to fight a guy named Jiro, who seemed to be the powerhouse of the group. Ka and Akamaru stopped to fight Sakin. Neji and Hinata broke off to fight somebody named Kitamaru, who was basically a human spider fighting at long range, giving him the advantage. Now, Naruto and Shikamaru were standing face to face with the final member holding the barrel containing Sasaki. So, your friends introduced themselves. What's your name? Nar asked. Why the should I tell you? The girl asked. It's common courtesy. I'd like to know the name of the opponent I'm going to defeat. Nar said, please, you don't stand a chance against me, but I'll humor you. The name is Tayuya. Tayuya said. Tayuya is a fair-skinned girl with a slender build. She has brown eyes that are accentuated by her eyelashes extending into the corners of her eyes. Tayuya's most distinctive feature in Naruto's opinion was her long untamed red hair that fell past her shoulders with long parted bangs framing either side of her face and one between her eyes. Nice to meet you, I guess. Now, I'd hate to hit such a pretty girl like yourself, so would you kindly hand over that giant barrel and let us leave? Nar asked. I'm not handing over _ you Konohatari aren't getting a damn thing from me. Tayuya said, I hope you have plan B. Shikamaru said, I do. We fight her, but you'll have to handle her on your own. Nar said, what? Why? Shikamaru asked. Because there's another person coming and he's a lot stronger than her. Nar said, and sure enough, somebody else landed. What are you doing here? Kimaru Yuya asked. Kimimaro has pale skin, vivid green eyes, angular facial features, 2 scarlet dots on his forehead, and shoulder-length white hair, which he wore divided down the middle on his head with 2 separate partings on either side of his face. You were taking too long, Tayuya. What happened to the other 3? Kimaru asked. Why, you come here. Your body shouldn't be able to function right now. Tayuya said, I'm not moving with the flesh anymore. It's mental power. Kimimaro said, now you're cheating death. Tayuya said, I understand a little now, that feeling of being information that has escaped from the prison of the flesh. The feeling of experiencing a taste of Lord Orochimaru's dream. This vessel is an important piece of his dream. It has the flesh that Lord Orochimaru truly desires. But you guys were a bit too late. Kimaru said, great, another freak to deal with. I can tell he's not an ordinary opponent. Shikimaru thought, I really don't have time for this. Nar said he leapt at Kimaru, aiming a punch at his face, but Tayuya appeared in front of him and tried to punch him in the face. Nar caught her fist quite easily, which shocked her, and then he knee her in the stomach, cracking a few ribs before throwing her into a nearby tree, making a loud noise when she fell through a couple of branches. Kimaru grabbed the barrel and landed next to Tayuya as she stood up. The only reason I won't kill you right now is because you have a mission to complete, and my mission is to deliver that to Lord Orochimaru. Kimaru said, didn't you say it was too late for that? Tayuya asked, I told you that's the body Lord Orochimaru truly desires. Kimaru said, the next vessel, huh? Tayuya asked, exactly, and this is the only thing I can do at the present time. I leave those 2 pieces of garbage to you, Kimaru said, and left with the barrel. Damn it. People just love to make my missions harder than they need to be. Nar said, come on already. Tayuya said, go ahead. I can handle her. Shikamaru said, and Naruto nodded, then vanished. He's fast, Tayuya thought and looked around for him. Don't worry, it's just the 2 of us now, Shikamaru said. You seem pretty confident that you can beat me. Don't need your boyfriend to fight your battles for you. After I'm done with you, I'll be going after him next. Tayuya said, you won't stand a chance against him. He didn't even try when he blocked your punch and kicked you away. I could tell you put quite the amount of power in that punch. Shikamaru said, what's his name? Tayuya asked. Nar. Shikamaru said, he's right. Orochimaru told us about him and to be careful. He was able to knock Kabuto out once and then nearly killed him. Tayuya thought. I'll be sure to leave his body next to yours. Tayuya said and pulled out a flute. Nar, I'm getting really tired of chasing after somebody I don't even like. Just leave the barrel and you can keep the rest of whatever health you have left. Nar said as he landed in front of Kimaru. You foolishly came alone. How do you want me to kill you? Kimaru asked. I don't know. How about you fight me and see for yourself? Nar asked. It's bad to underestimate your opponent. Kimaru said, I'm not underestimating you. I can already tell you're powerful. What does Orochimaru want Sasuke for anyway? Nar asked. Lord Orochimaru has already obtained his immortality jutsu. However, a long period of time is necessary to get every jutsu and obtain everything in the world. Just because he is immortal doesn't mean his flesh is being maintained forever. Before his body decays, a strong new flesh will be made into a vessel for his soul. Kimamaru said, so he basically wants Sasaki for his body is what you're telling me. Naro said, yes, that's right. Kimaru said, the fact that I'm the only one who thinks something is wrong with this is weird. Nar thought. I suppose it's time to get serious, Kimaru said, and created a weapon made from bone. Bones. I see. You possess the dead bone pulse Keek Jenk. Nar said very observant. Kimamaru said I must be careful. Kabuto warned me about him and how he was able to best him on 2 separate occasions. That and he was able to defeat a tailed beast at its full power. I can easily tell he has a lot more power and skill than his partner fighting Tayuya right now. In order to defeat him, I may have to use my curse mark. Kimaru thought. Kimaru rushed at Naruto with his bone weapon, and Naruto just dodged every swipe and stab move Kimaru threw at him. Nar pulled out some kana and channeled fire chakra into one of them, while the other was coated in wind chakra. Nar and Kimamaru started to trade blows at a rapid pace that would be too fast for anybody not used to high speeds. When they separated, Naro had a few cuts and bruises, while Kimaru was covered in what appeared to be scorch marks. Kimaru was surprised that Naruto was able to do damage to him. He was told Naro was good, but he didn't think Naruto would do this much damage to him and not this early into the fight. Your body twitched. Nar said, what was that? Kimaru asked. You twitched. That means you're nervous. You have a good poker face, but growing up on the streets like I did causes you to learn how to read people's body movements. You're nervous because you weren't expecting me to be as good as I am. You aren't properly prepared for this fight. Given your clan's history, you fight until you can't fight anymore. I know how you fight now just from this first little scuffle. Nar said, how exactly do I fight? Kimaru asked, why should I tell you? Nar asked, if you don't, then I'll kill you slowly and painfully. Kimaru said, no, you won't. You don't have much time to live based on your breathing patterns. You're already winded and we haven't even begun fighting seriously. You're trying to finish this mission as quickly as possible to do one last good deed in the eyes of Orochimaru. Now that you've revealed yourself to have a Keek Jenk, I can handle you however as I please. Naro said. Kimaru rushed at Nar with new speeds, but Nar ducked and gave him a quick uppercut followed by a few quick punches around his body. Kimaru tried to move his left arm, but it wouldn't budge, so Naruto took advantage of this and hit him with a point-blank fireball jutsu. Kimaru grunted in pain as he wasn't quick enough to fully block the attack with his bones. When the smoke cleared, Kimaru was standing there with his curse mark activated. Kimaru had marks spread across his entire body in contorting and parallel lines. So that's your curse mark, Naro said. Prepare to die, Kimaru said. Before anybody could move, the barrel containing Sasaki started to smoke before it eventually exploded and caused a cloud of smoke to surround the area. Once the smoke cleared, Sasaki was standing there with longer hair and his skin was gray. Soon after Naruto saw him, Sasuke's hair shrunk back down to normal and his skin started to clear up. Naruto figured it was something to do with the curse mark, and Kimaru retracted his own curse mark. Are you going to make this more difficult by running away? Nar asked. And then Sasaki started to laugh like a maniac before he jumped away. Of course you are, Nar said. It seems my mission will be over faster than I thought. Kimaru said as he appeared next to Nar and then he was kicked away. Who are you? Kimaru asked. Kona has rejuvenated handsome devil Rock Lee. Lee said, what about your body bushy brow? Nar asked. Do not worry about me, Nar. Go get Sasuke. Lee said. You sure? Nar asked. Please leave this to me. I can take care of things here. Rock. Lee said. This one's strong as well. Good. Kimaru thought. All right. This guy uses his bones to attack. When you're done, go back to the village and get checked out. Nar said and vanished. Nar. As he was running through the forest and hopping through the trees, Naruto felt Sasaki get closer to a specific area in the land of fire and found it ironic that he'd have to fight him there. He wasn't far behind Sasaki, but he decided to take his time and recover a bit from his fight with Kimaru. They didn't fight much, but they both got some good hits in on each other. He finally caught up to Sasuke after another 10 minutes of running through the forest, and they stopped at the Valley of End. Yo, Nar said, well, look who decided to show up. The hopeless little loser. Sasaki said, the same hopeless little loser that kicked your when you challenged him. Drop the attitude and get your back to the leaf. Today was supposed to be the start of my 2 weeks vacation. Nar said, I'm done playing ninja with you children in the Leaf Village. Sasuke said, children, do you realize we're all the same age? Naruto asked. Compared to me and my power, you're all children. I'm going to Orochimaru now, and I'm not coming back to that joke of a village. Sasaki said, it's like you're intentionally forgetting the rooftop fight. Nar said, that was a fluke. I'm glad you came here, actually. Now we can settle things once and for all between us. It's time to put you in your place. Sasuke said. Sasaki created his Chidori right from the start and ran at Naruto with his full speed. Naruto stood there patiently waiting for him, and then at the moment he created a Rasen, then slammed it into Sasuke's Chidori. Both of them were sent flying backwards, but Naruto landed quite easily and stood on the water while Sasaki barely managed to correct himself in the air. Sasaki let a smirk cross his face and then his curse mark activated and marks spread across his body. You know what they say, Naruto. Top-class shinobi should be able to read each other's hearts simply by an exchange of fists. Even without saying anything, you've always been naive. Don't let this newfound strength stir you from reality that I'll always be better than you. Sasaki said and went through hand signs. Fire-style Phoenix Flower Jutsu. Sasaki spit multiple small fireballs at Naruto, who didn't even look worried since he could easily counter the jutsu. He decided to humor Sasaki and jumped into the air since he knew that's what Sasaki wanted. Nar smirked when Sasaki appeared in front of him and threw a punch, but it was caught by Nar. Sasaki didn't have time to recover because he was kicked in the back of the head by a shadow clone of Nar that he didn't even notice was made. Nar used the water dragon jutsu on Sasaki and he was sent crashing into the wall of the valley. Nar threw Kana at Sasuke coated in wind chakra and they each stuck through his clothes, pinning him to the wall. Nar appeared in front of Sasaki and just started raining down punches on him with no remorse. The punches were so fast that it forced Sasuke's sharing to mature and gain 3 tomo in each eye. Naruto activated his Hishigan just in case Sasaki tried to use a genjutsu on him. The punches kept coming and Sasaki was nearly out of it until his curse mark activated again. The amount of chakra released from the curse mark was enough to send Naruto flying back and helped get Sasaki out of the wall. The smoke cleared and Sasaki was completely different from a few seconds ago. When Sasaki activated the second level of the cursed seal, his skin turned dark gray and his hair grew then turned dark blue. His eyes also turned dark gray, but his sharing remained active. Additionally, he grew webbed claw-shaped wings from his back, which he could use to fly and glide, and a dark star-shaped mark appeared across the bridge of his nose. That's new, Naruto said. Sasaki appeared in front of Naruto, who managed to catch his punch with ease, and that confused Sasaki since he was more powerful than Naruto at this moment, or so he thought. Naruto and Sasaki started to trade punches and kicks around the valley. And thanks to Sasuke's newly matured sharing, he was able to counter some of Naruto's moves and got some good attacks in. When Nar and Sasaki separated, Nar got into a stance that Sasaki was familiar with, embraced himself for the onslaught that was about to come. 7 heavenly breaths. First activation, second activation, third activation. After Nar activated his first 3 steps of the 7 heavenly breaths, he vanished from Sasake's eyesight and he was barely able to duck out of the way from the kick aimed at his head. Nar didn't give him time to recover as he hit him with a powerful great breakthrough that sent Sasaki crashing into the wall and made him cough up blood. The jutsu was enhanced because Nar released his third activation. So, the air he had in his lungs was used to boost the power of the jutsu. Sasaki pulled himself from the wall and moved out of the way as Naruto came crashing down at him. Sasaki tried to use a genjutsu on Nar, but Nar wasn't making eye contact with him and it failed. Sasaki used the fireball jutsu on Naruto, who countered it with a ripping torrent and created a giant steam cloud. Sasaki was at a disadvantage since he couldn't see and wasn't a sensor. His sharing gun couldn't track Naruto's chakra signature because the steam cloud was filled with chakra. Sasaki tried to fly out of the steam cloud, but his foot was grabbed and he was slammed down to the ground. He felt a fist hit him in the gut and then a heel to the gut which broke a couple of ribs. He tried his hardest to locate Nar, but he was well hidden. Sasaki went to fly again, but when he landed on the ground, the wings in his back were severely damaged. Rising Moon Barrage. Nar kicked Sasaki up into the air, but not high enough for him to leave the steam cloud. Nar then used powerful kicks and punches on Sasaki to keep him dazed. The fury of strikes ended with a bone-crushing axe kick that knocked Sasaki back onto the ground. As Sasaki was laying on the ground, dazed and in pain, Nar jumped high into the air and prepared to finish off his attack. Naruto gathered wind chakra around his fist as he was falling towards Sasuke and hit him with a powerful whirlwind fist. The blow was powerful enough to create a giant crater and knock Sasaki out of his second stage of the curse mark as well as blow away the steam cloud. Nar looked at Sasaki, who was unconscious but still breathing, and released the 2 remaining activations he had. He fell down on both knees and was breathing heavily. He still needed to work on his Rising Moon Barrage since he only used it once, and it wasn't while he was using the 7 Heavenly Breaths technique. He finally stood up, and when he went to grab Sasaki, somebody kicked him away into the wall. Sorry Nar, Orochimaru needs Sasaki for something important. Kabuto said and grabbed Sasuke, then vanished. Son of a underscore, Nar said and pulled himself out of the wall. Nar, a voice said, and when he looked up it was Kakashi. Yeah. Nar asked, what happened? Where's Sasaki at? Kakashi asked. Had him beaten when I went to grab him. Kabuto showed up and kicked me into the wall before he grabbed Sasuke, then left. Nar said, we can track him. He couldn't have gotten that far. Kakashi said, Kabuto was able to avoid a squad of John and sent to grab him during the Chunin exam finals, and I heard he even escaped you at the hospital. He's long gone by now, and we'd be heading into unknown territory. Let's just head back so I can give my report. Nar Sadzunade's office. So you failed, huh? Tsunade asked. Yeah. Nar said, what happened? Asked. I fought Sasaki at the Valley of End, and when I was about to grab him to bring him back, Kabuto showed up. He kicked me into the wall, grabbed Sasaki, and quickly left. Nar said, Kakashi tells me you refused to go after them. Why? Asked. Kabuto is slippery. That and I would have been heading into unknown territory blind. It was best that I came back to the village and reported to you. Nar said, alright, I'll give you your 2 weeks vacation you put in for. I haven't heard from Jiraiya yet, so you can just rest or train until your vacation is over. Said, thanks. How's everyone else doing? Nar asked. Shoji had a heart attack from the food pills he took during the fight he had, but he's stable now. Ka had a stab wound and Akamaru is being treated by the Inuzuka clan. Neji suffered a severe wound close to the heart and severe chakra exhaustion, but he's in recovery. Hinata suffered a dislocated shoulder, some torn ligaments, and the same wound as Neji, but hers was through the stomach. She'll be fine, though. Shikamaru has a broken finger, but he's more down about his teammates being injured on the mission. I gave him some time off to clear his head. Tsunade said, alright, well, I'll be around the forest, Naruto said and left. Forest. Nar was walking around the forest as he said he was going to do and came across the area Shikamaru was fighting at. The trees were destroyed and he knew Shikamaru didn't do this. He looked at the way the trees were cut and noticed it was wind chakra. The only person that could do something on this wide of a scale is Tamari, and he figured she must have come to help him. He walked around some more until he came across a familiar redhead trapped underneath some trees. He walked over to her and checked for a pulse. She was still alive, so he decided to help her out. He created some shadow clones, and they channeled wind chakra into the trees to cut them. Halfway through the process, Tayuya woke up and screamed, what the are you doing? Tayuya yelled, I'm saving your life. Nar said and kept moving the trees. Why? Tayuya asked. Well, you're alive and I couldn't just leave you here. Nar said, idiot. How do you know I won't kill you once I'm free? Tayuya asked, the moment you try to move, you won't get very far. Nar said, what does that mean? Tayuya asked, your legs are trapped underneath these trees. You can't feel it because the nerves are probably damaged. I'll take you to my village to get you healed. Nar said that, I'd rather die. You'll just turn me in and have me tortured before killing me. Tayuya said, no, I won't. I'm taking you to the Hokage. She's the best healer in the world. I'm pretty close to her so I can get you healed and possibly a new home in the village. Nar said, I don't believe you needle. Tayuya said, first off, Mai is way bigger than a needle. Thank you very much. Secondly, the Hokage is my godmother. I have some pull in the village, although it's not much, Nar said as he removed the final tree. Hell, my legs look like Tayuya said. And Nar picked her up. Come on, I'll get you some food as well. Nar said, what's the catch? Tayuya asked. No catch. All you have to do is tell us what you know about Orochimaru, the Sound Village, and in return, I can try to get you a new life in Konoha. Nar said, what do you mean new life? Tayuya asked, simple. You can either become a regular civilian or after a probationary period, you can become a ninja. Nar said, this sounds too good to be true. You're hiding something. Tayuya said, only problem is the curse mark you have. Nar said, of course. This thing is stuck with me forever. Tayuya said, not really. I should be able to get rid of it. Somebody in my village has one as well, and I've been working on removing it. Nar said, does this new life come with more than one meal a day? A hot shower in my own room. Tayuya asked, yeah, do we have a deal? Nar asked, hell yeah, we do. Tayuya said, good. Nar said, why are you being so nice to me? Tayuya asked, let's just say I have a thing for cute girls with red hair. Nar said, and Tayuya had to hide her blush. Watch your hands, you pervert. Tayuya said, I'm not even touching you inappropriately. Nar said, I can feel your hands trying to touch my and grab my side. Tayuya said, and Nar just sighed. We could have been back in the village by now, but you won't shut the up with your complaining. Nar said and put her down. Who the do you think you're talking to? Tayuya asked. I'm talking to an ungrateful I'm trying to help. You're sorry and all you want to do is complain. Just shut the up until we get there and then you can talk. I swear if you say one more word, I will leave you here to be eaten by forest animals. I may be nice, but do not piss me off. Nar said, his eyes turned red from the Ninetales chakra flowing through his body. Tayuya was honestly scared and shocked at the moment since nobody has ever spoken to her like that and she didn't know what that red chakra was. She nodded and Naruto put her on his back as he started hopping through the trees. Along the way, he could hear Tayuya whimpering in pain and he decided to quickly go back to Sununade's office by using a quick number of Shin. Granny Sunade, I need your help, Nar said as he just walked into the office. I'm in the middle of a meeting. Sununade said, this is important. Nar said as he placed Tayuya on the couch. Who's the girl? Kaharu asked. Yes, I don't think I've seen her around the village before. Homura said, this is Tayuya and she was part of the group that was sent to retrieve Sasuke for Orochimaru. Nar said, so, you brought us a prisoner. Kaharu asked, not exactly. Nar said, and Sunade felt a headache coming. Nar, what did you do? Asked. I kind of told her that if she gives us information, you heal her legs and I'll remove the curse mark. Also, I might have said you'll let her start a new life as a ninja or civilian for Konoha. Nar said, and Sunade just punched him through the roof. Holy look at how big your tits are. How do you get them like that? Tayuya asked. Quite the mouth she has on her. Homura said, yes. Shall we continue this meeting another time, Lady Sununade? Kaharu asked. Actually, the meeting was about Orochimaru. I think Naruto gave us something good. Sununade said, when will face come down from that? Tayuya asked, he should have been down by now. Sununade said, and then Nar walked through the door with bags filled with ramen. Where the did you go? Tayuya asked, to find you some manners. Nar said, I have manners. Tayuya said, whatever. So, did she talk yet? Nar asked. We were about to start actually. Said and Naruto nodded as he gave Tayuya a bowl of ramen. So Tayuya, what can you tell us about Orochimaru? Homura asked that he's a pedophile. Tayuya said and Naruto snickered. What makes you say that? Kaharu asked. He's always going after little boys for their bodies. I mean that's a giant red flag right there. Tayuya said, what does he want their bodies for? Asked his immortality jutsu. Tayuya said and slurped up some noodles. His immortality jutsu asked. Yeah, it's some kind of jutsu where he switches bodies once every 3 years. It's not really an immortality jutsu since if he doesn't have a body after 3 years then he'll die. The is weird. Tayuya said, what can you tell us about the Sound Village? Asked. The Sound Village is not really a village, but a network of laboratories composed of various hideouts and bases scattered throughout the land of Sound and various other countries. There was so damn paranoid about being found that it's almost impossible to track him. We never stayed at the same base for long, so it made us constantly go on the move. Tayuya said, where are some bases? Asked Kusa. The southern hideout, which is somewhere off the coast of the Land of Waves. The northern and eastern hideouts, which I've never been to, so I can't tell you where they are. Kabuto has his own little island to jerk off some other people he wants to experiment on. And then there's a hideout on the demon island of the Land of Sea. There could be more, but I don't know where they are. What is this that I'm eating? It's delicious, Tayuya said. Do you know anything else about his experiments? Kaharu asked. I'm doing an awful lot of talking, but my legs aren't getting healed. I'm not saying else until my legs get fixed. Tayuya said, what do you two think? Should I heal her legs now or just give her to Anko and Ibiki? Asked. She's given us quite the information, and it's much more than we expected. Homura said, yes, I believe she has earned the right to have her legs healed. Kaharu said, and Sununade nodded. Now, tell us more. Hunade said and started to mend the bones into Yuya's legs while removing the wood chunks. He has a ton of that he did. Stealing kids from the orphanage, kidnapping shinobi, killing the cage, and he was talking one time about giving somebody an arm made completely from Hashiyama Senju's DNA. I don't know who would want a dead person's DNA, but whoever it is must be one sick. Tayuya said, does he have any bases in the land of fire? Asked. I thought he did, but Kabuto said it was destroyed by the third Hokage. Actually, that old should have told you about a base of his. Tayuya said, and Sununade finished her legs. Well, he didn't. Now, your legs are healed, but you need to stay off of them for 2 weeks and soak in hot water for about 45 minutes every day to help with the pain you'll feel from the blood vessels opening back up. Said, so, I can stay? Tayuya asked. Yes, I'm guessing you want to become a shinobi, so I'll have to place you on a 3-month probation, and when your caretaker is not here, I'll have an ambu watch over you. Said, caretaker. You've got to be kidding me. Tayuya said, I'm not. Nar will be the one taking care of you. What? I'm not spending my 2 weeks vacation taking care of her. Naruto said, think of it as a paid vacation, then I'll stop by twice a week to check on you and make sure everything is done with. Said, what about this curse mark? Tayuya asked, give me a few more days and I'll have the removal process ready. Nar said, you better not be lying to me or I'll cut your off and shove it up your. Tayuya said, you know, if you stop cursing so much, I'm sure your mouth could be used for something better. Nar said and walked out, leaving a stunned Tayuya with a huge blush on her face. What the did you just say to me? Get back here so I can kill you. You limp needle blonde-haired. Tayuya yelled. It's like Kusha and Minato all over again. Kaharu said as she was listening to Tayuya rant. Indeed. The only difference is I don't think Minato would have the guts to say something like that to Kosa. Homura said, I give it a few weeks before they realize they like each other. Said, I don't know. Is it wise for them to fall in love? Their tempers can clash, and I know Naruto has mellowed out, but his temper is still there. Homura said, they'll be fine. Tayuya said, what? Tayuya yelled. I'm taking you to Naruto's apartment. I have a key to get in and you can wait for him to get back. Where'd he go? Tayuya asked. Either to train or find his sensei that's most likely hiding somewhere in the village. Sununade said and Tayuya nodded. So, how do you get your tits to look like that? Tayuya asked as Sununade placed her in a wheelchair. Why are you trying to impress somebody? Asked and smirked when Tayuya blushed. No, who the would I have to impress? I just want my tits to look like that. Tayuya said, I'll tell you the secret along the way to Naruto's apartment. Sununade said, Nar. Naruto was walking through the village looking for Jiraiya since he knew he was in the village somewhere. He felt Jiraiya's chakra in the village, but he couldn't pinpoint exactly where he was. He suddenly remembered who he's looking for and vanished. He arrived at the hot springs and sure enough, Jiraiya was up in a tree with a telescope and blood coming from his nose. Pervy sage, don't you ever get tired of peeping on women knowing they'll find you and beat you? Nar asked, nope. So, what brings you here? Jiraiya asked. I don't know if you've heard, but Sasuke left the village. Nar said, did you stop him? Jiraiya asked, yeah, but then Kabuto showed and took Sasaki as soon as I was about to grab him. Nar said, what are your thoughts on it? Jiraiya asked. Sasaki made his own decision. He's a rogue ninja, and depending on what he's listed as in the bingo book is how I'll treat him if we ever cross paths again. I'm not going to chase after him like some lost puppy. I've got bigger things to worry about like the Akatsuki. Nar said, that's right. Now, in a few months, I'm going to be taking you away from the village. Hara said, for what? Nar asked, a training trip. Well, be gone for 2.5 years where I'll teach you everything I know. I'll train you to the point where you'd come back nearly as strong as me. Before we leave though, I'm going to train you in using the Ninetales chakra. Now, I won't make it your go-to, just something you have in your back pocket as a last resort. Jiraiya said, when do we start training? Nar asked. I understand you're on vacation now, and I don't have anything to do, so I'll train you over the next 2 weeks on the Ninetales chakra. What that means is I'll have you channel as much chakra you possibly can and then we'll spar while you're using the Ninetales chakra. Jiraiya said, alright, I'm heading home then. Nar said, see ya. I've got to get back to my research. Jiraiya said and Nar sighed. Of course, there's a pervert in the tree peeping on the women's bathhouse. Nar yelled and vanished. Damn it, kid. Jiraiya said. Naruto's apartment. Why are you in my apartment? Nar asked. The big tit cage told me I'll be staying here. This place isn't half bad from the looks of the outside. I've got my own room, fresh food, and hot water. Now, make me something to eat. Tayuya said, no, I need to take a shower first, and you also need to wash up. You smell like you haven't bathed in a while. Nar said, I haven't. The baths in the Sound Village barely worked, and everyone had to share. I'd rather stink than share a shower with a bunch of creeps trying to cop a feel on me. Tayuya said, if it was that bad, then why'd you stay? Nar asked. I had nowhere to go. He gave me shelter after he found me living on the streets. In a way, I felt like I owed him my life. I did try to leave before, but he branded me with the curse mark, so I was stuck there. This is like a luxury to me, and I know I come off as a tough underscore, but that's all I know. It's how I had to grow up and protect myself in Sound. I really do appreciate what you did for me, but I'm not sure how I'm supposed to express it. Tayuya said and didn't know she was crying, so she froze when Naruto gave her a hug. You can stay here as long as you want. Sorry about insulting you earlier. I also grew up on the streets for 2 years, so I know how you feel. Nar said and Tayuya nodded as she hugged him tighter. You tell anybody that I was emotional and I'll chop you off, Tayuya said, and they broke the hug. It's our little secret. Nar said and wiped her tears away. I should kick your you got me all emotional and underscore, Tayuya said and then chuckled. Like I said, it's our little secret. Now I'll let you use the bathroom first so I can get dinner started. I'll have Shun come over tomorrow so she can get your measurements for clothes. Nar said he walked away and left Tayuya alone on the couch. She was grateful for Nar saving her life and she owed him, but she didn't know how to repay him. She's a tough chick, but he's already managed to make her cry, and it wasn't on purpose. Then there's the food. She didn't eat much in the Sound Village. So far, the food she's had was great. Maybe her living here would be better than she thought, and maybe meeting Naruto was the best thing for her. She had to admit he wasn't battle looking and she'd go as far as to say that he's the cutest boy she's ever seen. The way his eyes look and the way he smiles at her just makes her feel special. Oh, Tayuya said she's starting to fall for Naruto Uzumaki and she's falling for him hard. It's been 3 months since Sasaki escaped the village and Tayuya was brought back by Naruto and it's been challenging to say the least. Tayuya was a handful for everybody and even Naruto at times, but he eventually learned to ignore her. The first 2 weeks were the worst since she couldn't walk and Naruto had to become her personal assistant. Of course, there were people who didn't approve of her being in the village, but Naruto simply told them that they'd have to go through him and they backed off. A came around whenever she could to help Naruto with Tayuya and even teased Tayuya a bit whenever she caught her looking at Naruto longer than she should have. Jiraiya found out about Tayuya staying at Naruto's house and being the pervert that he was. He tried to get Nar peek on her and he declined the offer. Coincidentally, Tayuya walked in on Naruto taking a shower 2 days later and passed out due to severe blood loss. Of course, found out and teased Tayuya even more. The highlight of Tayuya staying in Konoha so far was the day she got her curse mark removed. Of course, Anko had hers removed first, but Tayuya was the highlight of the day. They managed to remove it and were shocked that during the unsealing process, another Orochimaru started to form. Naruto quickly used his ability from his Hishigan to disable the Orochimaru clone and Jiraiya cut his head off. Once the curse mark was removed, Tayuya went into shock and Tsunade had to stabilize her before she had a heart attack and died. When Tayuya woke up 2 days later, she felt light and felt like a new person. When she asked what happened, Naruto explained to her everything that happened and how her body went into shock after the curse seal was removed. She felt exhausted still and Naruto told her that the removal of the curse mark drained her of her chakra reserves and they haven't fully recovered yet. The next thing Tayuya did was look at her shoulder in a mirror and started to cry since the curse mark was gone. She gave Naruto a hug and kissed him on the cheek as she thanked him over and over again. But she stopped when she realized what she was doing and had a huge blush on her face. Once the others found out about Tayuya living with Naruto, their reactions were all different. Shikamaru was wary of her because she was an enemy. Ka was automatically against her living there. Rock Lee Tenen and Neji kept to themselves, especially Neji since he decided to give her a second chance since he's turned over a new leaf since his defeat during the Chunin exams. Shino was his usual self. Hinata was worried that she'd never get to be with Nar and silently fumed over Tayuya since she was very pretty and saw how Nar smiled at Tayuya when they would talk to each other. Sakura and Ino, however, were a completely different story. Sakura was openly against it and tried to break into Naruto's apartment while he was on a mission. Tayuya was still weak from the curse seal removal, so she couldn't do much, but Naruto thought ahead and placed security seals around the apartment to protect her. She didn't tell him, but she was really thankful for that. Sakura tried on multiple occasions to get into his apartment, but each time was met with failure. Ino tried to use her clan's jutsu to manipulate Tayuya and have her thrown out of Konoha, but Tayuya was a strong-willed person, and Ino always failed. Tayuya decided to report them to Tsunade since she was still on probation at the time, and they were both suspended for 6 months. The only problem Tayuya had was her feelings for Naruto that would grow every day. He cooked for her, cleaned for her, and until he was able to get a bed for her, he let her have his room, while he slept on the couch. He brought out the nice side of her that she had buried deep inside of her long ago, and she would blush whenever he was too close to her. He even started to teach her how to cook since she didn't know how, and she was grateful since he was back on mission 2 weeks after she arrived. Over the past 3 months, Naruto trained with Jiraiya and Tsunade for different reasons. Jiraiya trained him for 2 weeks using the Ninetales chakra, and Tsunade helped him with Keek Jenk. Also assisted them in training with the Ninetales chakra since she was able to subdue him when he lost control. The training was brutal on Naruto, who had to constantly draw on the Ninetales chakra. At first, things were going good until Naruto drew on too much of the Ninetales chakra and grew 3 tails. He went on a rampage, but Jiraiya were able to easily handle him in order to subdue him. Jiraiya started to call that the Ninetales cloak since Naruto would be covered in a cloak of Ninetales chakra that would take the shape of a fox. After those 2 weeks were up, Tsunade began teaching him how to properly combine his water and wind chakra to control his ice Keek Jenk. He knew some jutsu for his Keik Jenk, but it wasn't much. He managed to learn the ice style, crystal wall jutsu, ice style, certain kill ice spears, ice style, glacial dome, and ice-breaking fist. When Tayuya was cleared to become a shinobi and cleared to start training again, Tayuya was given the rank of special genin since couldn't just give her the Tunin rank right off the bat. That meant Tayuya had to do the D rank missions, but that quickly stopped when people tried to attack her for being around Naruto, and she put them in a coma. After 5 incidents like that, Tsunade paired Tayuya up with Naruto and started to send her out on C rank missions. Right now, Naruto and Tayuya were in the middle of one of their C rank missions. It was another bandit camp elimination that went around terrorizing small towns in the Land of Fire. These weren't regular bandits, as Nar could tell, they had some kind of ninja training. Nar easily defeated all of his opponents, and now he was watching Tayuya struggle with the last one. He knew her weakness was close combat, but he didn't think it was this bad. He tried to get her to learn some taijutsu, but she simply refused. She was open to learning some genjutsu, of course, but Kurana was always out on missions with her team, and she was the best genjutsu user in Konoha. She finally defeated the last bandit, and Naruto started clapping. Nice job. It only took you 15 minutes to defeat him. Nar said, shut the up. Let's deal with the others. Tayuya said, you weren't paying attention. They're already defeated. Nar said and pointed at the bodies. Are they dead? Tayuya asked. No, most of them have bounties and I want to collect them. Nar said, then where can we collect the money? Tayuya said, Nar asked, don't pull that underscore with me. I helped. Tayuya said, you took out one person and I handled the rest. I highly doubt that counts as helping. Nar said, I'm still a genin. I need all the money I can get. Tayuya said, here's the deal. I'll split the money with you, but you have to cook me some ramen when we get back home. Nar said, you're going to get fat from eating too much of that shit. Tayuya said, still doesn't stop you from eating it or watching me train. Nar said, I do not. Tayuya said, I'm a censor. Remember? Nar asked, and Tayuya blushed. Shut up. Let's just go to Yuya said stupid blonde pretty boy. Tayuya thought yo Nar Gamakichi said as he appeared Gamakichi what are you doing here? Nar asked. Jiraiya said to come back to the village quickly. He says he has a mission. Gamakichi said alright. Nar said and Gamakichi left. Back to the Leaf Village I guess. Tayuya said and sighed. What's with the sigh? I thought you'd be happy to go back home. Nar said, don't worry about it. Let's just go. Tayuya said, hey, what's wrong? Nar asked. Nothing. I'm just tired. Tayuya said, alright, Nar said. After Nar finished sealing all of the bodies away into a stasis scroll, they immediately left back to the Leaf Village with Tayuya moving faster than Nar. Naruto didn't understand why she was acting weird all of a sudden, but he decided to leave her alone for now since he didn't want to get yelled at. Tayuya was fuming inside. She was out of the village and spending time with Nar with no one interrupting them. But as soon as Jiraiya mentions a mission, Naruto completely forgets what they had to do and decides to head back to Konoha. They traveled all the way back to Konoha in silence and Naruto decided he would talk to Tsunade about Tayuya. Hokage office mission complete. Granny Tsunade. Nar said, did everything go smoothly? Asked, yep, me and Tayuya easily handled them. Nar said, that's good. Oh, and Jiraiya was looking for you. Tsunade said, I know. Gamakichi came and told me. Nar said good to Yuya. Is everything alright? Asked. Yeah, I'm fine. I'm just tired. Tayuya said, alright, you're both dismissed. Said, and Tayuya left, but Naruto stayed behind. Granny Tsunade, can I ask you something? Nar asked. Let me guess. It's about Tayuya. How do you know? Nar asked. I just know. Now, what is it? Asked. She's being distant and didn't talk to me on our way back. I don't know if I did something wrong or not. Nar said he still doesn't understand what's going on. Sununade thought. Well, what happened on the mission? Asked. The usual. We got there, of course, joking around, but still serious. Then we took out the bandits, and since some of them had bounties on their heads, we were going to cash in for the bounty. But Pervy Sage sent Gamakichi to tell me about our mission. I decided to come back here to get started on the mission. Nar said, I'll be blunt. Tayuya was looking forward to spending more time with you. You're the person she's closest with in this village. Sununade said, but we were just on a mission for 2 days. We already spent time together. Nar said and sighed. Nar Tayuya likes you. Sununade said, I like her too. She's a good friend. Nar said, no, she likes you like a boyfriend. Said, well, how was I supposed to know? She didn't tell me. Nar said, of course she didn't. Tayuya doesn't seem like the type to just spill her feelings towards you. Do you like her as well? Asked. I just said, yeah. Nar said, no, I mean, as in a romantic type of way. I don't know. Maybe. It's not like she's given me any clues or anything that pointed to her liking me. Nar said, how about this? Take her out when you return from the mission with Jiraiya. If I'm not mistaken, there's going to be a festival about a day after you return. Take Tayuya out on a date and see how it goes. Said, I guess you're right, but there's a problem with that festival. Nar said, what's that? Asked. The festival coming up is the Nettles Festival and I never go to those. Nar said, damn it, that is right. Said, I guess I'll go this year for Tayuya and to see how I feel, but I can't make any promises that I won't fight anybody that attacks me. Nar said, just try to have a good time. Said, I'll try. Nar said, you're going to be 14 and I feel like I barely spent any time with you outside of training. Said, don't worry. When I get back from my trip with Pervy Sage, we can spend time together. Have a mother and son kind of day. Nar said, mothers asked. I mean, you do treat me like a son, and you are my godmother. Since we've officially met, you've shown me the love and care an actual mother would. I know I call you Granny Sunsade, but I think of you as my mom, Naruto said. And Sununade smiled before giving him a hug. I'll make sure to clear a day for when you get back. Sununade said and they broke the hug. There's just one thing bothering me. Nar said, what is it? Sununade asked. I'll be leaving in a month or 2 with Pervy Sage for my training trip. Does it make sense to start a relationship when I'm about to leave in 2 months? Nar asked, you have a point. Just spend time with her to see how it goes. After that, before you leave, see where you two stand. Does she know you're leaving? Asked. No, me and Pervy Sage figured it was best that only you and the elders know. Well, not Danzo, but the other two. Naruto said and sat down on the couch in her office. You know, if she sees you leaving, she'll ask to come with you or try to kill you, right? Asked. I know. Was it this bad when you fell for Pervy Sage? Nar asked. No, actually, the roles were reversed on our end. Jiraiya always loved me, but I was never sure or I would deny it. I didn't accept my feelings for him until I was gone from the village and didn't see him. You have a chance at love, and if I were you, I'd take it before it's too late. Said, we'll see what happens. I'll see you later. It's time for me to meet Pervy Sage. Do you know what rank this mission is? Nar asked. You have to ask him, Sununade said. All right, Nar said and vanished. Hot springs. Pervy Sage. You should really find a better hobby. Naruto said as he arrived at the hot springs. Why? This is the greatest hobby ever. Jiraiya said and started to giggle. Whatever. Gamakichi told me you had a mission for us. Nar said it's not really a mission for me, but it is for you. You remember Koyuki Kazuhana, right? Jiraiya asked. Yeah, I had a mission 2 months ago to protect her and wound up killing her uncle after he tried to take over the land of snow. She even took a picture with me and gave me a kiss on the cheek. Nar said, good. I've been trying to get her to be the lead actress in my book that was picked up for a movie and she agreed to sign the contract, but on one condition. Jiraiya said, I'm sure it involves me. Nar said, it does. While we're filming, she wants you to be her bodyguard. There's been another assassination attempt on her life and she thinks it's somebody who worked for her uncle. They use that same chakra armor and her guards don't stand a chance against it. If you find the person who's doing it, then take them out. This is an S-ranked mission, Jiraiya said. So, when do we leave? Nar asked. She's sending an aircraft to meet us near the Valley of End. We should leave now and we'd get there by the time the aircraft arrives. Jiraiya said, how long will we be gone? Nar asked. About a month and a half. Since our trip was delayed due to wanting to give you some field experience, we'll be leaving the day after your birthday. Jiraiya said, it's still for 2.5 years, right? Nar asked. Yeah, maybe with us delaying our departure, the Akatsuki will delay their plans as well. Now, let's get going. The airship will be here soon, Jiraiya said, and they vanished. Land of Snow. After going to the Valley of End and getting on the airship, Naruto and Jiraiya finally made it to the Land of Snow. Koyuki wasn't with them since she was stuck in a meeting, but she personally invited them to her home. Nar looked around a bit and noticed everyone was happier now since Dato was dead and Koyuki took over. They were being personally escorted to Koyuki even though they didn't need it. Another thing that Naruto and Jiraiya learned was that Naruto had a huge following over in the Land of Snow. In other words, Naruto has fangirls and they nearly got to him a few times. Now, he had to walk around with a henjin so nobody would see him. He saw Jiraiya was for once being serious, but he knew it was only a matter of time before he did something perverted, and he hoped it didn't involve Koyuki. We're here. Lady Koyuki is just beyond these doors, a guard said, and they entered the room. Nar, it's so good to see you again, Koyuki said, and she gave him a huge hug, squishing his head between her. Lucky brat, Jiraiya thought. It's good to see you as well, Koyuki. Oh, and this is Jiraiya, but I like to call him Pervy Sage, Naruto said, and Jiraiya punched him on the head. Stop calling me that, Jiraiya said. And Koyuki giggled. Nice to officially meet you, Lord Jiraiya, Koyuki said and bowed. Pleasure is all mine, Jiraiya said and had a certain look on his face. Hey, Pervy Sage. Stop looking at her like she's a girl at the brothel house. Nar said shut up, Jiraiya said. Stop being a perv and I will. Nar said and this caused a glaring contest between the two. Still haven't changed, Nar. Although, Lord Jiraiya, I must warn you that your antics are strictly forbidden in my country. I have no problem placing you under arrest and nullifying the treaty between our villages. Koyuki said and Jiraiya was nearly heartbroken. Almost 2 months with no paying. How will I ever survive? Jiraiya thought I can tell you right now that you were the first person he tried to spy on. Nar said, I know. That is why I will be staying in a secret location guarded by you, Nar. Koyuki said, what about food? Nar asked. And Koyuki sighed. I have the best chefs we have cooking you ramen as we speak. Now, shall we get on to business? Koyuki asked and Jiraiya spoke up. I'm excited and happy that you've accepted the contract. I honestly didn't think that you would. Jiraiya said, well, this was the first role I was offered since I took over. Now, I have one thing I would like to change up. Koyuki said, what would that be? Hara asked. I wish to use a stunt double for the scenes. Your movie has actual and I'm not comfortable being on camera or in front of people. Naruto's the exception since he's already seen me like that. Koyuki said and Jiraiya was jealous of Nar right now. We don't have enough time to find a stunt double. That and your looks are unique. Jiraiya said that is all I want. I will do the movie but not the scenes. Isn't there some kind of way to find somebody in a week? Koyuki asked. I'm afraid not. Jiraiya said, you two can't be serious. The solution is so simple. Just grab a female that is legal and see if she's willing to do the scene. All you need her to do is use the transformation jutsu and boom, everybody wins. Nar said, there's just one problem. We don't have anybody with that kind of training. Jiraiya said, I can get somebody. Nar said, how? We're all the way in the Land of Snow. Jiraiya said, Gamakichi can do it for me. He knows how to grab somebody and bring them with him. Of course, he'd be tired after it, but he can do it. Nar said, how old is she? Jiraiya asked. 24. She always wanted to be an actor in these kinds of movies. She works at the brothel house, so she'd be perfect for this. Nar said, how does she have ninja training? Jiraiya asked. She said her grandfather taught her when she was younger, but she never wanted to be a ninja. She always wanted to be in a movie. Actually, all of the brothel house women know how to defend themselves. I wonder if she taught them. Nar said, will she be able to look just like me? Koyuki asked. Absolutely. Only thing that she needs is what your body looks like. Nar said, I'm sure she can just imagine that. Koyuki said, I guess. Naruto said and summoned Gamakichi. Yo, what's up? Gamakichi asked. Kichi, I need you to go back to Konoha and grab Siku from my apartment building. She lives in 2002. Nar said, doing that makes me tired. Gamakichi said, you can have this entire bag of sweets if you do it. Nar said and unsealed a medium-sized bag. Then again, you are my favorite summoner. I'll be back, Gamakichi said and left. That's how you get him to do stuff for you? Jiraiya asked. Yep, it's even worse with Gamatu. Naruto said, and then a puff of smoke appeared. I'm back. Give me the treats, Gamakichi said. Well, that was faster than I expected. Must be because of the treats, Nar thought, and gave him the bag. See ya, Gamakichi said and left. Nar, what am I doing here? Siku asked. Siku is a beautiful woman to everyone that has ever laid eyes on her. She has tan skin, long flowing black hair that stops at her waist, and green eyes. Jiraiya, however, was drawn to her chest. Her were nearly the size of she had a nice figure to add to her beauty. They're 92 centimeters pervy sage. Stop staring at her, Nar said. You remembered, Siku said and gave Naru a big hug. I had no choice. When you were sick, I went to do your shopping. 92, 60, and 87 were your measurements. After I had the talk with Anko, I put 2 and 2 together. Nar said, he knows all of this, and yet he constantly gets on me for being a pervert. Jiraiya thought, Nar, why am I here? Siku asked, you're here to be a stunt double for the movie Pervy Sage is doing. Nar said, who am I the stunt double for? Siku asked. That would be me. Koyuki said, and Siku gasped. No way. I get to be your stunt double. Siku asked. That is correct. I don't want to get in front of the camera. I don't feel comfortable being on camera or in front of people. Koyuki said, Nar saw you. Jiraiya said, shut it, Pervy Sage. Nar said, don't call me that. Jiraiya yelled and everyone ignored him. You're too big to be mine. You're a what? H-cup. I'm only a double D. Koyuki said, it's fine. People know there are stunt doubles who do this kind of thing and mess up the body size, but in this case, I don't think they would mind. All she really has to do is have your face correct and skin color. Jiraiya said, I can do that, Siku said and transformed into Koyuki except with her body type. Perfect, Jiraiya said. Can you mimic my voice? Koyuki asked, of course I can. Siku said and sounded just like Koyuki. Great, Siku. Come with me and we'll talk about your pay with the director. Jiraiya said, you try anything and I'll cut your off. Siku said and Jiraiya paused but nodded. You got it, Naruto. You know what to do, Jiraiya said and left with Siku. You know the other reason I want you here, right? Koyuki asked. Yes, but why now when you're about to shoot a movie? Why not ask before? Nar asked. Because I can use this as cover. Whoever is attacking me won't know you're here. I gave all of my closest guards the next month and a half off. I know you walked around with a henge on, so they don't know you're here. Koyuki said, do you have any suspicions on who it might be? Nar asked, yeah, I think it's my personal guard. Koyuki said, why would Sadai want you dead? Nar asked because he wants the chakra armor mass-produced, but I reject his proposals every time. He thinks we should conquer the surrounding territory, but I want a peaceful country. Koyuki said, does he have any skills? Nar asked. He can fire-type jutsu. That's all I know. He thinks the chakra armor can make a enjutsu specialist invincible. Koyuki said, do you know if he has some? Nar asked. I don't know. It's possible. I was in a meeting earlier and we were talking about ships coming in overnight delivering something, but nobody knew anything. I'm suspicious of Sadai since he's more distant towards me lately. Koyuki said, I see. After this, you should really consider getting a better assistant. Nar said, I don't think I'll find another assistant like Sandu. Sadai was good when he first started, but now it's like I'm handling everything on my own. Koyuki said, I know somebody that can help. Nar said, is this another brothel house girl? Koyuki asked, yes and no. Nar said, explain, please. Koyuki said, she works there, but as the receptionist, she organizes everything like appointments, personal visits, and even handles the money. It's the only job she could find to help provide for her. But I'm sure if a certain movie star and leader of a certain country needed an assistant, I'm sure she'd move here. Nar said, how old is she? Koyuki asked. 21. Nar said, the airship that will take you back. I want her on it. Send her a letter. Koyuki said, I will. Now, where are we headed? Nar asked, well, I want your help with something. Koyuki said, what would that be? Nar asked, teach me some of your fancy ninja moves. Koyuki said, I tried last time. What made you change your mind? Nar asked. Last time you asked me was right after you killed my uncle and then we had Sandu's funeral. Koyuki said true. Now, what would you like to learn? Nar asked. Everything. Koyuki said, fine. Do you have access to your chakra yet? Nar asked. Yeah. Koyuki said, chant some chakra. Then use the tiger seal and gather as much chakra as you can. Naruto said and showed her the tiger hand sign. Okay, Koyuki said. And after a few tries, she finally released some chakra. She must have been using chakra throughout her life without even realizing it. She has John and level reserves. Now comes the fun part. Chakra control training. Nar thought. Alright, you can stop now, Nar said. How was that? Koyuki asked. That's good. You have as much chakra as a Junin would. Now comes the part of you learning to control your chakra. Nar said, what's first? Koyuki asked, tree walking, but I'll have you do it on the walls. This involves channeling a fixed amount of chakra to the bottom of your feet and using that to climb the wall without your hands. Too little chakra and you'll too much chakra and you'll be pushed off the wall and fall. What I want you to do is try and get to the ceiling since this is a pretty big room. Nar said, sounds easy enough. Koyuki said, if you say so. Nar said, how long should it take me to get this down? Koyuki asked, it really depends on your ability to control your chakra. Really? It took me a few days to learn this, but my chakra is difficult to control because I have so much of it. If you have a natural talent at controlling your chakra, I'd give you a few hours a day. Nar said, then let's get started. Koyuki said. 2 weeks later, Nar and Koyuki were currently in a spa, which was something they've been doing during her free time. In the past 2 weeks, Koyuki has mastered tree walking and water walking. Nar also taught her the shadow clone jutsu. And since Koyuki was able to make 5 shadow clones while they would spar, Naruto would have her make 4 shadow clones and teach them some water enjutsu since that was one of her chakra natures, with the other being lightning. Alright, that's enough for today, Naruto said. And Koyuki collapsed to the ground. Why are you training me so hard? Koyuki asked. Trust me, this isn't hard. Anyway, I only have a month left to help you train, and I want to get as much done as possible. Nar said, at least my schedule for the movie isn't that bad. Koyuki said, that's true. Now, release your shadow clones and see if they finished those jutsu yet. Naruto said, and Koyuki nodded. Then released her shadow clones. Finally, Koyuki said, show me. Nar said, water style. Ripping torrent. Koyuki created a spiral of water in her hand and then fired it towards Naruto, who countered with his own ripping torrent. Water style. Water shuriken. Koyuki created some shuriken from water and threw them at Naruto, who was wondering why she's using him for target practice. Water style. Severing wave. Koyuki spit out a high-pressure stream of water at Naruto, who barely got out of the way and saw that her jutsu cut clean through the wall where they were training at. Water style. Water tornado. Koyuki created a vortex of water that was acting like a barrier. And when she was about to send it to Nar, one look from him made her change her mind. Okay, you learned all 4 jutsu and used me as target practice. Next step is genjutsu, and we'll keep working on your taijutsu. Nar said, I'm gonna hate this taijutsu training. Koyuki said, you'll be fine. I do have a question though. Nar said, what's that? Koyuki asked, why did you want me to train you? You could have just privately hired somebody. Why me? Nar asked. Because you're the only person I trust with this kind of thing. I know Jera is here, but I think he'd be a bit too hands-on with me. That and I know you're strong, Koyuki said. I guess I can live with that. Nar said, so, have you had any luck with Sede? Koyuki asked. Yeah, it's definitely him. 2 days ago, I saw him signing for another arrival from a ship. I tracked him down to where he's building the chakra armor, and it seems he only has on for himself. I couldn't destroy it because the core he has is a lot more powerful than the one your uncle used. I'd have to get him when he makes his move, Nar said. When would that be? Koyuki asked. I'd say within the next few days. He has everything he needs to finish it, but I think he's carefully waiting to make sure you're alone. Nar said, I don't think he'll be able to handle him. Koyuki said, you won't be. I'll be there to take him on. Nar said, after he's taken care of, what's next? Koyuki asked. Then you finish the movie and your training. Nar said, don't I get to have any kind of fun? Koyuki asked and pouted. I'll be giving you more time off to heal. I'm only training you so much because I don't know if Sadai has anyone working with him. Nar said, I just thought about this. Can that girl you recommended protect herself as well like Siku? Koyuki asked, yeah, she was trained to be a ninja, but didn't enjoy the killing part, and the third Hokage mainly sent her on seduction missions. She never had to go that far in the missions, but she felt like the third Hokage was trying to get her killed or raped. Nar said, well, she won't have to worry about that here. That kind of stuff is severely frowned upon here and has a castration penalty. Koyuki said, if only Konoha was like that before Granny Sununade took over. Anyway, your training is over for today. Nar said, good. How strong am I? Koyuki asked. Well, if I had to guess, I'd say mid-genin, but that's only because you just started training with me. By the time I leave, you should be about a mid-tunin level opponent. The shadow clones are helping speed up your progress. Nar said, so, I'd be able to take you on. Koyuki asked. No, I'm basically mid-jonin level, but I lack experience. Nar said, well, how will I train after you leave? We mainly have samurai here. Koyuki said, I'm sure Granny Sununade wouldn't mind sending you some stuff to learn. We are allies after all. Nar said, Ni. So, how do I do genjutsu? Koyuki asked. Well, work on that another time. I said, you're done for today, and you have some movie scenes to film tomorrow. Nar said, what will you be doing? Koyuki asked, I have something to do. A personal mission of sorts. Nar said, does it have anything to do with a girl? Koyuki asked, is it that obvious? How did you know? Nar asked, I can tell by the look on your face. Now, who is the lucky lady? Koyuki asked, and Nar sighed. Her name's Tayuya. When we get back to Konoha, I'm taking her out on a date of sorts to this annual festival we have in our village. I was thinking about getting her a nice dress or something to wear for the festival. Naruto said, is she your girlfriend? Koyuki asked, no, I'm taking her to see how I feel. I mean, I know she likes me, but I'm not sure if I like her. Nar said, you like her? Koyuki said, what makes you say that? Nar asked, if you didn't like her, then you wouldn't be trying to buy her a nice dress. Koyuki said, I feel something, but I don't know what it is. Nar said, then act on that feeling. If she likes you, then I don't think she'd mind. Koyuki said, you don't know Tayuya like I do. If I do act on those feelings, there's a good chance that she'll kick me in the nuts or try to stab me. Nar said, just trust me. If she really likes you, then she won't mind. I am a girl after all. Koyuki said, yeah, a girl who's never been on a date before. Nar said, by choice. If you were older, I'd allow you to take me out. Koyuki said, maybe in another world, Naruto said, and Koyuki laughed. Joking aside, if you really want to get her a good dress, go to the dress store and ask for Cheong. She makes all of my elegant dresses, and if you tell her I sent you, I'm sure she'd help you out. Koyuki said, thanks. I'll owe you one for this. Nar said, you'll be saving my life for a second time while you're here. You don't owe me anything. Koyuki said, I guess you're right. Are you ready to leave now? Nar asked. Yes. Can you take me back to where I am staying? I need to soak in the hot springs there. Koyuki said, sure. Any progress on completing the generator? Nar asked, it's nearly done. I have my best scientists working on it. We should officially become the land of spring within the next year. Koyuki said, that's good. Maybe I'll come back to visit once it's done. Nar said and vanished with Koyuki. Nar. As he was walking through the land of snow under his hench, Naruto was looking around for that dress shop that Koyuki told him about. Everything was so lively around here, and if it weren't for his fang girls, he'd gladly walk around without his hench. He looked like a small 8-year-old with brown hair and black eyes. As he was walking, he noticed his search led him into a more fancy part of the land of snow, and he felt a bit out of place. He found the store he was looking for and finally entered. Hello. How may I help you, young man? The lady at the desk asked with a smile. I'm looking for Cheong. I was told to come here to get a custom dress made. Nar said, aren't you a bit too young to ask for a custom dress? The cashier asked and Nar looked around before dropping his hench. It's me, Naruto Uzumaki. Nar said, oh gosh, it's really you, the cashier said. Head. And Nar placed his hand over her mouth. Please keep it down. Nobody is supposed to know I'm here, but I had to do this. Nar said and she nodded. Sorry, it's just that you're famous in the land of snow. Anyway, Cheong is around back. Just go through that door and she should be in her office. The lady said and pointed to a door. Thanks, Naruto said and went through the doors. Well, this is a surprise. The famous Naruto Uzumaki is in my shop and he is personally looking for me. To what do I owe the pleasure? Cheong asked. Koyuki sent me here to get a custom dress made. Nar said, who's the lucky lady? Cheong asked and pulled out a notepad. Seriously, do I have a note or something on my face? Nar asked, honey, I've been in this business for 20 years. I know when the dress is for a girl or not. What are her measurements? Cheong asked. I hope she doesn't kill me for this. If she does, I blame Shizune for forcing me to go shopping with her. 303235 Nar said, and Cheong wrote it down. That's odd for a measurement, but I'm sure she'll have a massive growth spurt soon. What's her personality? Cheong asked. Well, she's usually quiet unless she's around somebody she knows. She's an overbearing, abrasive, blunt, foul-mouthed girl, which has somewhat rubbed off on me. She is caring and sweet, but that's only when we're around each other with no one else around. She does swear at me when we're alone, but she's just joking. Nar said, and Cheong wrote that down. What's she look like? Cheong asked. Fair skin, nice brown eyes, and she has long, beautiful red hair. Nar said, I see. I should have something prepared for you in 2 weeks. Xiam said, thank you. Nar said, you should tell her how you feel. Xiam said, it's really complicated on my end and not for any bad reasons. Nar said, whatever it is, I'm sure you'll make the right decision. Xiam said, and Naruto left. Konoha, nobody was safe in Konoha at the moment, and Tayuya was the reason for it. It's been 2 weeks since Naruto left and she hasn't gotten word or anything from him. Add in the fact that she had to go on a lot of basic C-rank missions with Team 8 and she's basically a ticking time bomb right now. Karinai was fine and she helped her with her genjutsu skills. It was Ka and Hinata who were the problem. Ka would purposely try to sabotage her on their missions while Kurana was busy and that resulted in Tayuya throwing Kana at him. Ka told her that she's lucky Naruto is a nice guy and gave her a second chance. But he also said that he would kill her if she ever crossed the line and hurt him. Tayuya quickly shut him down when she told him that Naruto doesn't even consider any of them his friends. She also told Ka that he could try to kill her, but she'd have him dead before he could even move, which was true since Ka was horrible at breaking genjutsu, and all of her genjutsu so far were sound-based, which was his weakness due to his hearing. Hinata, on the other hand, just kept staring at Tayuya, and she swore she saw her glare at her once. The tension between the two of them was obvious, and Hinata would purposely poke her chest out while walking past Tayuya to show off her figure. At first, Tayuya was confused. When she talked to Karnai about it, she learned about Hinata's crush on Naruto and even found out she stalked him around the village. Tayuya told Hinata when they were alone that it was only a matter of time before Naruto was hers, and that was the truth. The only thing is Naruto didn't pick up on any signals she gave him indicating she liked him. She was currently in Tsunade's office since they just returned from another mission. Mission complete, Lady Tsunade. Karinai said, good. Any problems? Asked and looked at Tayuya who was irritated. Why do you keep looking at me? I didn't do _, it was these two as usual. Tayuya said, what did I tell you about swearing in my office? Asked and Tayuya sighed. Fine, I'm sorry, big tits. Tayuya said, and Tsunade pinched her nose. Kurenai and Team 8 dismissed. Tsunade said, thank you, Team 8, meet me at Training Ground 8 in 2 days for training. Tayuya, feel free to join if you like. Kurana said, and then left with Team 8. Not going to happen, Tayuya said. You should really try to get along with them. Tsunade said, I tried and it's not working. I'd rather die than be friends with them anyway. Tayuya said, you still can't cause problems on the missions. Said, I don't. I just want to get them done quickly with no problems, but the nut-licking mud and shy stalker keep bothering me. Tayuya said, it's amazing how she can come up with so many insults and find a way for them to be funny, but true as well. Shizune thought, how about I send you on missions with Team 9? Asked, do you want me to kill the 2 green beans? Tayuya asked, fair point. What about Team 10? Asked with the lazy crybaby, the chain smoker, Tubbs, and the prissy blonde. I'd rather pass. Can't I just go on some missions by myself? I can handle it, Tayuya said. You sound like Naruto right now, said and Tayuya blushed a bit. It's the truth. Tayuya said, I know, but I can't send a genin on a C-rank mission by themselves. Said, then promote me to Chunin. Tayuya said, I can't. You know, you have to take the Chunin exams for your Chunin promotion. That was part of the deal with the Shinobi Council. Said, yeah. Tayuya said and waved her hand at Tsunade. Those are your only options. Said, why can't I just do a C-rank mission with a Jonin or Anbu member watching me then? I don't need the entire team to come with me. Tayuya said, who do you have in mind? Asked, please don't say Anko. Shizune thought, Kurana, Anko, or Kat. I get along with them. I don't really know Hana that much and the other Jonin can choke on a kunai. Tayuya said, I'll talk to them about it. Tsunade said, and Tayuya nodded. Just out of curiosity, when does Naruto get back? Tayuya asked, why do you miss him? Asked and smirked when Tayuya blushed. No, he's the only person my age in this village that I can tolerate. Tayuya said, I know when he gets back, but I can't tell you since it's an S-rank mission from what I understand. Tsunade said, come on, can't you give me a hint? Tayuya asked. Nope. Tsunade said and Tayuya yelled before storming out of the office. Why didn't you let her know when Naruto was coming back? Shizune asked. Because it's fun messing with her. I need to have some kind of fun on the job. I guess you're right. Shun said and Kat appeared in the office. What is it, Kat? Asked. Tayuya has gone on a rampage again. Do I have permission to apprehend her? Kat asked. Let her blow off some steam. It's kind of my fault. Is there anything else? Tsunade asked. Yes, the council is waiting for you. There was an emergency meeting called about Naruto not being in the village. Kat said, who called the meeting? Sununade asked. Elder Danzo. Kat said, of course he did. I'll be there shortly. Sununade said, and Kat vanished. That's odd, Shizune said. I know. Why would Danzo call a meeting because Nar isn't here? Asked. Because Danzo doesn't know that Naruto is out on a mission with Jiraiya. He doesn't know much that goes on anymore since you seal the office now and it keeps his little spies out. One thing we know about Danzo is that he doesn't like when he doesn't know what's going on in the village. Shizune said, no. Danzo wants something else. What could he be after? Shizune asked and after's thought about it, her eyes went wide. He wants Tayuya. Katsunade yelled. Yes, Lady Sununade. Kat asked. I want you to grab Enko and Kurana. Go protect Tayuya at any cost. Sununade said, of course, Kat said and vanished. Why would Danzo want Tayuya? Shun asked. He doesn't want Tayuya. He wants Naruto and he knows if he can get Tayuya, then he can blackmail Naruto into joining him. Sununade said, that isn't very smart. Danzo is putting the entire village at risk. Naruto would lose control of the Nine Tails if something happened to Tayuya. Shizune said, I know. That's why I have 3 of my top jonin and an Ambu going to help her. Sununade said, what will we do about the meeting? Shizune asked, well go, but act normal. Said, Konoha Forest, who the are you and what the do you want? Tayuya asked as she was surrounded by 15 blank mask. Anbu our master would like a word with you. The obvious captain said tell your boss I said to kiss my Tayuya said and pulled out her flute. Get her use force but do not kill her. The Anbu captain said but that's when Enko Karina and Kat landed in front of Tayuya. Ah you guys weren't going to start without us were you? Enko said either leave or die. Kat said, kill them all. Leave the girl alive. The captain said, it's like you're a magnet for trouble to Yuya. Karina said, shit happens. Tayuya said, let's do this. Enko said. Enko pulled out 2 kana and ran towards the first 2 Anbu members she saw. The Anbu members pulled out their Tonto swords and swung at Enko, but she did a split to avoid the swipes and threw a kunai into each of their groin. Enko removed the kunai and then quickly slit their throats. She was nearly kicked from behind, but her years of experience kicked in, and she used her hidden shadow snake hands to grab the Ambu and threw a kunai straight through his skull. These guys aren't that strong, Enko said and pouted. We have our orders, Enko. Kurenai said. Kurenai ducked out of the way from a head kick by an Anbu and quickly trapped him in the Hellfire Genjutsu. Before the Ambu could break the Genjutsu, Kurenai threw multiple shuriken into his body. She saw 2 more Ambu coming at her and she trapped them in the tree binding death Genjutsu. Then watched as the Ambu fell to the ground dead since the tree exploded. 6 down, 9 more to go. Kurenai said hid in the trees using the double falls surrounding Genjutsu to keep herself hidden. She used the summoning jutsu to summon her Doki into the fight. Once the Doki were summoned, Tayuya used her flute to control her Doki and had them attack the 4 Andu members that were still trapped in her Genjutsu still. Since she no longer had the curse mark, it was hard for her to have complete control over the Doki since she didn't have that evil presence on her anymore, but she had just enough control to have them smash the 4 Ambu members and kill them. She's right. These guys are weak. How the didn't they know they were under a damn Genjutsu? Tayuya asked and Kurana sighed. We really need to work on that mouth of yours. Kurenai said, my mouth is pretty fine. Tayuya said, I don't see a problem with how she talks. Enko said, of course you don't. Kurenai said, and then the 5 remaining Anbu members fell to the ground. What the was that? Tayuya asked. Did you forget that I was here? Kat asked. Well, yeah, I'm not a censor and I thought you got your pretty out of here. Tayuya said, how do you know I'm pretty? You don't know what I look like. Kat said there's only 2 people in the damn village with purple hair. I know who you are. Tayuya said she's got a point. Enko said let's just seal the bodies and report to Lady Sununade. Kurenai said, that's not going to happen. Enko said, why? Tayuya asked. Look, Enko said, and they saw all the bodies go up in flames. What the hell? Was that the aftermath of your genjutsu? Tayuya asked, no, I had nothing to do with that. Kurenai said, wait, how do you know I was in trouble? Tayuya asked, Lady Sunade had a feeling you were in danger since an emergency meeting was called about Naruto being gone, but it's never happened like that before. Kat said, then Big Tits must have known that the Anbu would come after me. I thought the Anbu only responded to her, the Anbu captain, and Anbu commander. Tayuya said, they do, but I don't think these are normal Abu members. Enko said, what the hell does that mean? Tayuya asked, we need to go to Lady Sununade. Kat said, then vanished with Enko and Kurenai. What the? Aren't you forgetting something? Tayuya yelled and Kurana came back. Sorry, Karin said and grabbed Tayuya before vanishing. Aid's office. So, I was right. Sununade said, yes, lady. When we arrived, she was surrounded by 15 blank masked AMBU members. Kat said, why were they after me? I didn't do anything wrong. Well, I don't think I did, Tayuya said and crossed her arms while thinking. Sheesh, she even has Naruto's thinking face. Said, they weren't after you exactly, Tayuya. Shizune said, then your big tits better start explaining. Tayuya said, the person who sent them isn't after you. He's after Nar. You were more than likely going to be used as blackmail to force Nar to join his side. Sununade said, so why not go after Nar himself then? Tayuya asked, because Naruto is the Nine Tails Gentry, and the guy doesn't want Naruto to release the Nine Tails. But he made one miscalculation. Said, what's that? Enko asked Tayuya, what do you think Naruto would do if he found out somebody in this village was holding you hostage? Asked, come look for me. Tayuya said, that's right. But when he finds you, there's a chance that he can release more Nine Tails chakra than he can currently handle and fully release the Nine Tails. Either way, this village would be destroyed. Said, damn, so who's the guy that sent the AMBU after me? Tayuya asked. His name is Danzo Shimura and he's an elder on our council. Sununade said, bandage over his eye and missing an arm. Has an X on his chin. Tayuya asked, yeah, how do you know him? Shizune asked, a few years ago, I saw him talking with Orochimaru about something, but I didn't know what it was about since they were talking quietly. Tayuya said, it's something, but it's not much. Said, so, do you mind telling me why your AMBU attacked me when they're supposed to answer to only you, the AMBU captain and AMBU commander? Tayuya asked, these aren't my AMBU. Those and AMBU belong to Root. It's an illegally ran division of AMBU Black Ops and Danzo is the leader. Said, then if it's illegal, why not arrest him? Tayuya asked, because he doesn't leave any trail. I've dealt with a few rude AMBU when I took over as Hokage and after they are defeated, they go up in flames. He's very careful and nobody knows the location of the base. Nar is the best censor in the village and he couldn't even find them. He thinks wherever they're hidden is protected by seals. Sununade said, Lady Sunade, what do we do now? Karana asked, yeah, I was looking forward to torturing them, but now I can't. Can I go after Danzo and bring him in for questioning? Enko asked and pulled out a kunai. No, for now we do nothing. His priorities right now are Naruto and taking the Hokage title from me. But that won't happen. Nar is being trained by Jiraiya, so he's under careful watch basically all the time, even when Jiraiya isn't in the village. As for me, well, let's just say that I'm even better than I was when I was younger. Said, well, how old are you? Tayuya asked, don't worry about it. Said, I bet Nar knows. Tayuya said, he does, but he swore he won't tell anybody. Said, I can get it out of him. Tayuya said with confidence, I told him if he tells anybody my age, then I'll personally have the Ikyakus ban him from eating there ever again. Sununade said, damn it. Tayuya said, will Danzo come after us now? Karini asked, no, he knows both of you are needed to keep Konoha safe since you're some of the top jonin and Kat is the ANBU captain. Sununade said, what about me? I mean, if that's all he's sending after me, then I can handle them easily. Tayuya said, no, if he makes another move on you, then next time the AMBU he sends will be stronger. Shizune SSSS then what do I do? Tayuya asked, you train. Obviously, he'll go in the shadows for now since he knows he failed and that gives us time to prepare. I don't know what you want to train in, but I'll give you 2 weeks, 3 weeks to make up your mind before I choose a training regime for you. Said, fine, I'll look into some stuff. Tayuya said, good. You're all dismissed. Said, and they left the office. Lady Sunshade, perhaps it is best that you implement your medical program now with everything going on. The Akatsuki were one thing, but now Danzo has joined our list of oncoming problems. Shizune said, yes, I know. I want a list of everyone you think would benefit the most from this course. Both of us will be leading this, but it will mainly be you since I have my Hokage duties to deal with as well. Said, yes, my lady. Shizune said and left the office. As soon as Shizune left the office, Sununade pulled out a bottle of sake and took a huge gulp. Things would be so much better once the current threats are dealt with and she can actually relax. She was looking out the window when a messenger toad came and delivered a letter to her from Nar. He told her that he was training Koyuki and he needed her to send over some scrolls for her to learn from once he leaves. That pretty much told her where he was at. He also told her he was having a dress made for Tayuya to wear for the festival. This was all unexpected, but she was dealing with Naruto here, and she smiled. She quickly wrote a response to him and placed some enjutsu scrolls, genjutsu scrolls, taijutsu scrolls, and even a copy of some of her medical enjutsu scrolls, and sealed them into a piece of paper she gave back to the messenger toad. She was glad she knew how to seal stuff away, or that would have been more difficult. As the toad went away, Sununade looked out the window and saw Tayuya walking around. She knew Tayuya would have a hard time figuring out what to do, especially with Naruto leaving for over 2 years with Jiraiya, and that's when she came up with the perfect solution to her problem. The only problem was she didn't know if Tayuya would accept this proposal or not. Nar was currently on set in the shadows watching Koyuki do her scenes for the day, and he could tell she was frustrated. The person she was doing the scene with couldn't remember his lines and they were in the 20th take for this one part. It's been a few days since they last trained and Naruto was sure that Sede would be attacking today. He had a Runin with him once while he was walking around the village under a different disguise since he had to drop his henge to the cashier lady. He was disguised as a blue-haired little girl with green eyes. Flashback. Naruto was on his way to grab some food for Koyuki from her favorite restaurant and that's when he saw Sede walking around with a suspicious look on his face. He used his speed to get in front of him and when Sadai was walking, Naruto came from around the corner and accidentally bumped into him knocking him down. Hey, watch it, Sadai said. Sadai had neck-length black hair that he wore in an asymmetrical bowl-cut style and he had green eyes. He wore the typical outfit for the land of snow, which was a heavy coat, gloves, and boots. Sorry, sir, Nar said. Just watch where you're going next time, little girl. Sadai said. Time for me to act like Tayuya and see where this goes. Nar thought, hey, you. You bumped into me, you son of a bitch. Nar said, and Sadai was stunned that a little girl no older than 9 cursed at him. What did you say? Sadai asked. You heard me. You limp ugly. How about you watch where you're going next time? I bet your nose touches the wall before your Nar said and Sadai's jaw dropped. You should watch your mouth. You obviously don't know who I hey, give that back. Sadai said, reaching for a piece of paper Nar snatched. What are you making? Ooh, is this some kind of awesome device? Nar asked, and Sadai snatched the paper. Yes, it's a project that I'm working on, and it will make the land of snow a much better place, Sede said and walked away. So, his chakra armor has the same weakness at the core like the old version. However, his core is much more powerful, and if fight him near the town, it would wipe out a huge part of the town. I'll have to fight him a few miles from here, where it's nothing except wide open space, Naruto thought. Flashback end. Nar told Koyuki and Jiraiya about his run-in with Sede and agreed that he should fight him away from everything. While Nar would be fighting Sede, Jiraiya would guard Koyuki along with Siku. Nar dropped his disguise while he was on set. Since he was in the shadows, he kept multiple shadow clones around the set to cover every single entrance to the set. As he was watching, Naruto heard the director yell cut once again and told everyone to take a 5-minute break while they went over lines for the actor she was with. Koyuki walked over to the table for some water and to talk to Nar since she knows where he is hidden. Tough scene. Nar asked from the shadows. No, the actor I'm with can't seem to remember his lines for some reason. He only needed 2 takes so far, but today it's like he doesn't even know he's in the movie. Koyuki said, that's odd, Nar said and activated his Hishigan. Maybe I should ask to cancel shooting for today. Koyuki said, you don't have to. He's under a genjutsu right now. Most likely Sede trying to make his move. Nar said, does that mean he's already in the building? Koyuki asked, and Naruto's eyes went wide. Yeah, one of my shadow clones just popped. Go near Jiraiya and don't leave his side. Nar said, okay, Koyuki said and ran towards Jiraiya. Koyuki, what's wrong? Jiraiya asked. He's here. Koyuki said, and Jiraiya grew serious. Where? Jiraiya asked. Well, hello there, Princess Koyuki. Sadai said as he came from the ceiling. Sadai, why are you doing this? Koyuki asked. You aren't fit to run the land of snow. You're too weak-minded and kind-hearted. In this world, strength and power is the only thing that matters. Instead of being allies with the surrounding smaller countries, we should rule them. This chakra armor is the perfect way to do that. But you, Sadai was cut off when he was kicked out of the building by Nar. I really didn't feel like hearing another evil speech. I hear enough from this movie, Nar said and vanished. Nar versus Sadai. Sadai landed on the ground and when he looked up, he was in the middle of nowhere. Basically, he jumped back when Nar landed in front of him and destroyed the ground with a Rasengan. Once the smoke cleared and Sadai saw Nar, he grew angry and scared at the same time. You, what are you doing here? Sadai asked. Working. Nar simply replied, this is none of your concern. Go back to the Leaf Village. Sadai said, that's where you're wrong. You see, other than the fact that Snow and the Leaf Village are allies, Koyuki happens to be a very good friend of mine, and she secretly hired me to protect her from you. Nar said, she knew. Sadai asked. Of course, she knew, but she couldn't confirm it. I've been watching you the entire time I was here. The little girl at the market was me, and I must say, you've certainly improved the chakra armor. Naruto said, better materials and an even better core. I must thank Koyuki and her team of scientists since they provided me with the materials I needed. Sadai said, you were stealing supplies she's using for the generator. All that because she rejected your proposal to use chakra armor to conquer the surrounding territories. Nar said, we have technology to rule this world, but she's too soft. Somebody new needs to take over, and that somebody is me. Sadai said, since you're going to die here, I'll tell you a little something about the world you should know. There's a group that's around that even frightens the main 5 great villages. Something as simple as your technology wouldn't even come close to being enough to stop them if they succeed in their plans. Nar said, with me in charge and mass-producing chakra armor, we will be invincible. Sadai said, fire style. Fireball jutsu. Sadai launched a huge fireball towards Naruto and he countered with a ripping torrent. Nar tried to get close to Sadai, but he would launch jutsu after jutsu at Naruto, forcing him to keep his distance. Nar decided to play along with this distance game and wait for the perfect opportunity to strike Sadai. Nar used the Shuriken Shadow Clone and Kana Shadow Clone jutsu on Sadai, but he was protected by the chakra armor since it created a shield around him. Water style. Try Water Dragon Jutsu. Nar la 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 launched 3 water dragons at Sadai, who just stood there with a smirk on his face and looked on as the chakra armor absorbed the chakra from Naruto's jutsu, causing water to fall to the ground. Before Naruto could make his next move, he had to jump out of the way from a huge beam that came shooting out of the chakra armor. Fire style Dragon Flame Jutsu. Sadai fired off a dragon flame projectile at Naruto which came at fast speeds and Nar barely had time to use the water wall jutsu to protect himself. Before the smoke cleared, Nar was hit by a fireball jutsu that had less chakra than before, so it did little damage to him. He realized Sadai didn't have much chakra, so he must have stored the chakra into his armor and used it to supply his jutsu. And that energy beam must have used almost all of that chakra he had stored away. The smoke cleared and Nar had a few burn marks on him that were healing thanks to the Ninetales healing ability. Nar removed his Chunin vest, leaving him in his red shirt. But he put a confident smirk on his face and cracked his neck. Sadai didn't like the smirk Nar had, so he shot a rather weak energy beam at Naruto and watched as it exploded on impact. The smoke cleared and Nar was standing there with his hand up, surrounded by his glacial dome jutsu. What? There's no way you should have been able to block that. Sadai said, you lost. I found the weakness in your chakra armor and your skills. You store chakra in the armor, then use it to increase the power of your enjutsu attacks. That large beam you shot at me used up nearly all the chakra you had stored away. Your actual reserves are small, and your last 2 jutsu barely had any chakra in them. That last beam you shot was so slow that an academy student would have seen it coming. Nar said, I can still win. Sadai said, no, you can't. Nar said from behind him, Lunar Barrage. As soon as Sadai turned around, Naruto punched him in the gut and released a pulse of chakra from his fist to increase the power of the punch. Upon inflicting the punch, Naruto took advantage by following up with a fury of rapid untraceable punches. Each punch was so fast that Sadai was unable to block, which left him open for another type of punch. This constant barrage of attacks weakened the chakra armor on Sadai and Nar saw the core was also taking damage. Nar ended the combo with a very powerful punch to Sadai's stomach, inflicting a lot of damage and making him cough up a large amount of blood. Sadai was sent crashing into a large ice-covered boulder and fell to the ground. And no, it's not over. If I'm going down, then I'm taking you with me, Sadai said and ripped the cover off of the power core to his chakra armor. Ice-style certain kill ice spears. Before Sadai could make his move, Naruto used his jutsu and ice spears rose from the ground, then stabbed Sadai through his body. Sadai was dead instantly, and his body just hung on the ice spears as his blood was rushing from his body. Naruto walked over to him and removed the core from the chakra armor since he figured Koyuki could use this for the generator. Nar cancelled his jutsu, then sealed the body away before using his water manipulation to wash away the blood just in case somebody came through the area. The Land of Snow had a good reputation ever since Koyuki took over and Nar didn't want anything to ruin it. Well, now that that's over with, I can go back to the studio and report to Pervy Sage and Koyuki, Nar said. And vanished studio. Nar returned to the studio and saw 20 people unconscious on the ground. Nar looked around and saw Jiraiya kick somebody towards him and he knocked the person out with a Rinnegan. Nar saw Jiraiya looking at him with a raised eyebrow and he walked over to him. How'd it go? Jiraiya asked. He's done. I see you were busy. Nar said not really actually. Koyuki took out a few of them. I wonder where she learned to fight. Jiraiya said and looked at Naruto who sheepishly smiled. Come on, you know I did the right thing. Nar said, I'm just saying a little heads up would have been nice. So tell me, what did her look like covered in sweat? Jiraiya asked as a pen and notepad appeared in his hand. She was completely covered. Pervy sage. Anyway, where is she? Nar asked. I'm here. Koyuki said and came out from her hiding spot. Why are you hiding? Nar asked. The ones Jiraiya took out were too strong for me and he told me to hide. Where's Sade? Koyuki asked. In here, Nar said and pulled out a scroll. Can you unseal the body so I can confirm his death? Koyuki asked. And Nar was nervous. Well, here's the thing. I don't know if you want to see this, Nar said scratching his head. What did you do? Jiraiya asked. Well, I used my ice kick jank. Nar said, I'm ordering you to unseal the body. Koyuki said, fine. Nar said, and unsealed Sade's body. Oh my, Koyuki said and threw up in the nearest garbage can. Sheesh, what did you do? He's covered in holes. Jiraiya said, I used my certain kill ice spears jutsu. I kind of used too much chakra. Nar said, I'll say he's pierced everywhere except the middle of his chest. Jiraiya said, that's because the power core to his armor was there, and I didn't want to risk it. Nar said, power core. What did it do? Koyuki asked. It powered the chakra armor, but this one was different. After the core absorbed enough chakra, it could fire off a beam at the opponent. I kept the core because I thought it could help with the generator. Oh, and he's been stealing supplies from the generator project as well. Nar said, can I have the core? I want my best scientists to look at it and see if it works. Koyuki said, sure. I think he has more materials at his hideout where he built the chakra armor. I can go there and see what I can find for you. Nar said, thank you, Koyuki said and gave him a kiss on the cheek. You're welcome, Nar said. I guess we can call it a wrap for today. The director was knocked out cold by these goons. Jiraiya said, what are you going to do with them, Koyuki? Nar asked, they'll be sent to jail, of course, and will face their punishment for their actions. Koyuki said, isn't attacking you a death penalty? Nar asked, yeah, but I want them to sweat it out. Koyuki said, that's how it is in the 5 great villages. Attacking the daimyo or anybody in power is the death penalty. Jiraiya said, good. Now, Naruto, will you please escort me to my sleeping chambers? Koyuki said, even with Sade dead, I still have to guard you. Nar asked, yes, my assistant hasn't arrived yet, so you are my guard until she arrives. Koyuki said, fine. Nar said, Lord Jiraiya, can you help the guards escort these men to jail? Koyuki asked, of course, maybe for helping you I can peep just a little bit. Jiraiya asked, sure, that is if you're okay with the punishment. Koyuki said, what's the punishment? Jiraiya asked, when you're caught peeping, you stand in front of the women you were spying on, and they take turns kicking you in the groin while you're tied at your hands and ankles for 5 hours. Koyuki said, and Jiraiya palled. Never mind, Jiraiya said. Thought so, Koyuki said. Ready to go, Nar said. Yep. Koyuki said, and Nar grabbed her, then vanished. Sleeping chambers. After the events of the day, Nar and Koyuki decided to use the hot springs in her private sleeping chambers. Koyuki didn't mind Nar joining her since she knew he wouldn't try anything on her, and he sat on the opposite side facing her. You know, had you not told me about the Tayuya girl, I would be all over you right now. Koyuki said and laughed when Naruto rolled his eyes. At least with you, I wouldn't mind. The fangirls, on the other hand, Naruto said and shivered. Why wouldn't you mind if it were me? Koyuki said, because I know you wouldn't want me just because I'm famous. I know you're attracted to me, but when I used my sensing ability on you, it wasn't lust that I felt from you. It was love. Nar said, why didn't you ever say anything? Koyuki asked and slid next to Nar. Because I knew it would never work between us. You being the leader of Snow and me being a ninja all the way in Konoha, you'd be in more danger since my enemies would come after you. That and let's face it, we barely knew each other. Oh, and I kind of had this thing where my girlfriend must have red hair for some reason. Naro said, so, if you weren't a ninja in Konoha, lived here, and I had red hair, would you date me? Koyuki asked, of course I would. You're nice, smart, beautiful, and you'd probably be the exception to the red hair thing. Nar said, you do realize I'm older than you, right? Koyuki asked. You're only like 3 or 4 years older than me, depending on how you look at it. Nar said, what? I'm 24. Koyuki said, no, you're not. You told me after I saved you and you were drunk from the party how old you really were. I know you lied to get in the movies and you were lucky they didn't have scenes in them. Nar said, I don't remember telling you that. Koyuki said, you were drunker than Granny after she had 2 days off from the office. Nar said, that's our little secret. Koyuki said, of course, Nar said and his eyes went wide. What? Why do you look like that? Koyuki asked. I'm a idiot. Naruto said. Huh, why would you say that? Koyuki asked Tayuya. I can sense feelings as well, and I never used it on her to see how she felt. Oh, I'm such an idiot. Nar said, well, that does make you an idiot. So, I'm guessing you know you like her, Koyuki asked. Yeah, I think I do. I didn't actually realize it until I left the dress shop. Nar said, so, are you going to make her your girlfriend when you return to Konoha? Koyuki asked, I don't know. It's complicated. Nar said, how so? Koyuki asked, when I get back to the village, I'll only be there for a day and then I'm leaving again with Pervy Sage. Nar said, where are you going? Koyuki asked, I can't tell you. Nar said, then you better tell you this. Koyuki said, I want to, but I can't. It's only supposed to be known by me, Granunade, Pervy Sage, and 2 of the village elders where I'm going. I thought about telling her, but I decided against it. Nar said, maybe she'll wait for you to return. Koyuki said, maybe. Nar said, who knows? Maybe she'll even let me join you as a second girlfriend. Koyuki said, nah, I'm a one girlfriend kind of guy. That and she doesn't seem like the sharing type. Nar said, I thought the 5 main villages had the CRA. Koyuki said, I don't know about the other villages, but Konoha has it, and I rejected it. That's something the 3rd Hokage came up with for some stupid reason. Nar said, why do you reject it? Koyuki asked. Because it's dumb that and there's a chance only one of them actually loves you and the others just want a piece of your fortune, Nar said. And then the messenger toad showed up. Who's this? Koyuki asked. A messenger toad. I sent a letter to Granunade already about your training. Nar said and took the scroll from the toad before it left. What does it say? Koyuki asked. It says she sent over some scrolls for you to learn from. Enjutsu, Taijutsu, Genjutsu and medical Enjutsu with instructions. Nar said I thought you already taught me Taijutsu. Koyuki said, I did, but it's the basic academy Taijutsu. I told her to pick out a style that she thinks would fit you. Nar said, what style did she send over? Koyuki asked. It's called Ikido. It focuses on redirecting your opponent's force and using it against them. It's good for you since you don't have to be stronger than your attacker since you're using their momentum. It's a variety of joint locking and throwing techniques. Naruto said, did she send me more water enjutsu? Koyuki asked, no, she sent you some lighting enjutsu. It's your secondary chakra nature, but it's weaker than your water chakra nature. Luckily, she sent over instructions on how to control your lightning chakra nature. I'll have your shadow clones work on the lightning chakra for safety purposes. Nar said, so, I have an offensive and defensive chakra nature. Koyuki asked. Exactly. You can even combine them for a powerful attack. Now, Genjutsu is what we'll be working on your next few lessons. We'll start with detecting and breaking Genjutsu before I have you cast Genjutsu. Medical Enjutsu. I can't really help you with since my chakra is too dense for it, so I never bothered to learn it. But I'm guessing that's why she included the instructions. Nar said, when do we train? Koyuki asked. Well, today you can rest. We'll start again tomorrow, Nar said. Okay. Are you ready to get out of here? We've been in here for a while, Koyuki said. Sure. Nar said and got out of the hot springs. Oh my. Koyuki said in a splash followed, making Nar turn around. Koyuki. Nar asked, and she was passed out with blood coming from her nose. Naruto's so big, Koyuki mumbled. I probably should have grabbed the towel first, Nar said. And after he was covered, he grabbed Koyuki, then vanished. 3 weeks later, it was time for Naruto and Jiraiya to return to Konoha. And Koyuki wasn't happy. She was going to miss Nar since he was basically her only friend at the moment. She was thankful for the training he gave her, and she was able to defend herself from a mid-ton opponent, but her overall skill would make her about high chunin since she didn't have much experience. She told Naruto she'd gain experience by fighting any would-be mercenaries that like to attack Snow Country. Her genjutsu and medical enjutsu skills were pretty damn good since she had excellent chakra control. Her taijutsu came along great and her water and lightning chakra natures were nearly mastered. She needed to work on her lightning chakra nature a bit more. Nar was able to pick up the dress from Shion, but she told him not to look at it until Tayuya puts it on. Jiraiya was mainly at his movie since this was the only time he'd be able to see the production since the movie would be done by the time Naruto's training trip was over. Nar and Koyuki spent a lot of free time together cashing some people to think they were dating, but they told them they weren't. Nar also raided Sadai's hideout and took all of the supplies he had, then gave them to the scientists for development of the generator. Right now, they were waiting for the airship to be ready. Well, it was fun spending time with you, Naruto and you as well, Lord Jiraiya. Koyuki said, same here. Remember to keep up with your training. Nar said, and gave Koyuki a hug. I will. Siku said she'd help me out. Koyuki said, the director said the movie should be done in a year, so you'll be pretty busy. Jiraiya said, it's okay. Nar helped me with my stamina during our training sessions. Koyuki said, oh, did he? Now tell me what exactly happened. Jiraiya asked and Koyuki smirked. We had multiple times. Koyuki said and Jiraiya passed out. Too easy. Koyuki said, why would you tell him that? Nar asked, is it not the truth? Koyuki asked, no. Nar said, so we never slept together. Koyuki asked, that was a one-time thing and you know it. Nar said, I told you that you were the exception, and I'm glad it happened. Plus, if you want to be technical, we did it about 4 times that one night. Koyuki said, I guess you're right. The time you're thinking of, though, was a genjutsu that made you see your deepest desire. Nar said, oh, well, it felt real. Koyuki said and shrugged. I'll tell him it was a genjutsu. Nar said, think hell believe you. Koyuki asked. Yeah, he knows about my situation with Tayuya, Nar said. If it doesn't work out between the two of you, my legs and country are always open for you. Koyuki said in Naruto's side, making her giggle. Why must you do that? Nar asked. Your reactions are funny. Seriously, if you ever want a change of scenery, you're welcome to move here. Tayuya can come as well. Koyuki said and gave him a hug. We'll see what happens. If you're ever in the land of fire, come to Konoha and we'll hang out. Naruto said. Of course, Koyuki said and kissed him on the cheek. Come on, pervy sage. Nar said and dragged him into the airship. Don't forget to have Akira get on the airship. Koyuki yelled. I won't. Nar yelled back and the airship took off. Konoha, where is everyone? Nar asked. It's like a ghost town here. Jiraiya said, Nar, is that you? Katetsu asked, yeah. Nar said, oh, thank the heavens. Izumo said, you've got to save us. Katetsu said, why? Nar asked, it's Tayuya. She's been on a rampage for the past month and a half. Amo said, why didn't you just telenade? Jiraiya asked, and they heard a crash in the distance. We did, she said. If a village full of ninja can't stop a 13-year-old girl, then we suck. Katetsu said, did the Anbu try? Jiraiya asked. Yes, but she got her hands on Naruto's pranking kit, Katetsu said. And Jiraiya palled since he knew how dangerous that stuff was. You've got to stop her. The merchants for the festival aren't able to set up yet, Izumo said. I don't know what's in it for me, Nar asked. We'll buy you a year's supply of ramen. Katetsu said, okay, Naruto said and walked away. Our savior has returned, Izumo and Katetsu said in unison. Unbelievable. They're acting like is on a rampage. This is nothing compared to what I've seen. Jiraiya thought's office. Hey, Granny Sununade. Nar said as he entered the room, he's never going to stop calling her that. Shun thought. Nar, how was your mission? Aide asked and gave him a hug. It was nice. Everything went smoothly and her attacker didn't even capture her this time. Nar said, that's good. So, how strong were you able to get her? Asked Midchin. Her lack of fighting experience makes her only able to handle a low Chunin opponent, though. Nar said, that's good. Now, care to tell me why Siku and Akira have moved out of the village? Asked, how do you know them? Naruto asked, they come to me and Lady Sunshade for a monthly checkup. Shizune said, right. Anyway, Siku is Koyuki's stunt double for the scenes in Pervy Sage's movie since it's actual and she only wants her husband to have with her and see her. Akira is going to become Koyuki's new assistant. Naruto said, I see. Sununade said, and a loud crash was heard in the hallway followed by yelling. The Ambu finally caught her. Shizune said, how long has it been? Asked, 2 weeks. Shizune said, did I win the bet? Asked, I'm afraid not. You said she'd last 3 weeks before the Ambu caught her. Shizune said, damn it, Sununade said. And there was a knock on the door. Enter, Sununade said. And the door opened, so Naruto jumped up to the ceiling. Get your hands off of me. I'll cut your nuts off and shove them up your asses. Do you hear me? I'll gut you like a fish, Tayuya yelled, kicking and screaming at the Ambu holding her. We've got her, Lady Sunade, Vor said. And he looked like he went through a war. Good. You and your squad are dismissed, said, and they vanished. Tayuya, calm down, Shizune. SSID. No, the nut-licking mud and shy stalker keep pissing me off. Add in that these stupid ninja keep mumbling, and I'm mad. Tayuya said, what do you think Naruto would do if he saw you like this? Do you think he'd be happy you're pranking the village? Shizune asked. No, he'd be mad that I'm pranking the village without him. Tayuya said and smirked at Shizune. She got you there, Shizune. Anyway, Tayuya, I can't have you destroying the village because people pissed you off. Sununade said, I wouldn't have to do this if Naruto was in the village. When he's around, nobody messes with me. Tayuya said, and her entire demeanor changed from angry to sad. What's the matter? Sununade asked. This stays between us. Tayuya said. Okay. Sununade said. I'll head over to the hospital for my patients today. Give you two some alone time. Shizune said and left, but not before looking at Naruto, who signaled for her to be quiet. So what's going on? Sunade asked. I miss him. Tayuya said. Nar. Sunade asked. And to Yuya's side, yes, I don't know what it is, but it's like I hate being away from him. I know he has missions to go on, but being away from him for this long is killing me inside. He's the only thing that keeps me calm and makes me feel wanted. I mean, he's the whole reason I'm alive right now. I really didn't want to catch feelings for him because I'm tough and I've always been alone, but he just broke down my barriers. I don't have to be this tough chick all the time when I'm around him. He brought back the side of me that I thought was buried away forever. Tayuya said, she's going to be a wreck when he leaves in 2 days. Sununade thought and glanced at Naruto. Maybe I should run away. That might help me. Tayuya said, running away doesn't help. I ran away as well and felt even worse when I was away from the one I loved. Said, I thought your lover died. Tayuya said, no, my boyfriend died. The one I've always loved was Jera, and running away from everything just made me love him even more since I missed him so much. Said the pervert, why him? Tayuya asked, the heart wants what the heart wants. Despite his particular hobby, Jiraiya is a good man with a big heart and was always there for me. He confessed his feelings for me multiple times, and each time I would reject him harshly, but he always came back. Even when we would argue and I'd tell him that I hate him, he'd still come save me if I was in danger on a mission. No matter what happened between us, he's always had my back, Sunade said. She had a small smile on her face, not knowing Jera was outside the window or that Naruto was next to him. Now they were both listening to their conversation intently and kept their presence undetectable. Why, you run away from him then? Tayuya asked. I just felt like I was being forced to be with him. My little brother died and he was comforting me. That's the first time we slept together, and then it happened again when my boyfriend Dan died. Jiraiya was once again there for me, and then we had a couple of flings here and there until he asked me to be his girlfriend and I rejected him pretty bad. Said, why, you do that? If you kept sleeping with him, it was obvious you like him. Tayuya said, I was young, stupid, and blinded by the loss of my brother as well as the man I thought I loved. Said, what did you say to him? Tayuya asked, a lot. I told him that he can never get laid if it wasn't for me because he catches feelings too quickly. I told him that he's nothing but a miserable man who would have to pay for his entire life. I said that he'd never be good for any woman no matter what he does, and that he should give up on trying to find love since it would never happen. I told him he was dead to me since he only came around when he wanted to have. And it was like he knew the days I'd said yes or no. I'll never forget the look on his face that day. It looked as if somebody ripped his heart out and destroyed it in front of his face. After that, I haven't seen or heard from him in 2 decades. Said, did he ever come back around? Tayuya asked, yeah, him and Naruto found me in Tanzaku town while Orochimaru was trying to get me on his side. I didn't know how to react when I saw him. I wanted to tell him how sorry I was right then and there, but he didn't give me the chance and we had to talk about what happened with Orochimaru. Said, does he still love you after being away from you for so long? Tayuya asked, I don't know. We never really talked about it. I've only seen him twice since I became Hokage, and that was my coronation day and the day your curse mark was removed. Other than that, he's been off the grid with his spy network, and I only found out about this mission he had with Naruto through a messenger toad. Said, my situation seems identical to yours. Tayuya said, in a way, that's true, but it's not. I hid my feelings from Jera on purpose while he was open about his towards me. You know your feelings towards Nar, but you aren't purposely trying to hide them from him. Said, I'm not hiding them. My actions speak for me. I mean, always cuddling up to him on the couch, constantly watching him train and staring into his beautiful blue eyes. It's like he doesn't get the hints I'm giving him. Maybe I should just tell him and get it over with. Tayuya said, he knows how you feel. Said, if he knows, then why hasn't he said anything? Tayuya asked, because I told him before he left. You need to remember that feelings of actual love towards somebody like a girlfriend are new to him. He was confused before he left and I don't know if he thought much about his feelings towards you while he was gone. Said, then what do? I don't want to lose him to the Hyuga chick. Isn't there something I can do? Tayuya asked. Just give him some time. I know for a fact that he likes you, but he needs to do things in his own way. Said, and Tayuya sighed. Was Jero with somebody before you? Tayuya asked. Yeah, but I couldn't get mad at him. We weren't together. Why? You think Nar did something with somebody else? Asked. Sort of. I mean, it's like every time we go on a mission, if it's a girl involved, they always pull him away for a few hours before he comes back. Then it's the picture of Princess Koyuki kissing him on the cheek. Tayuya said, trust me, Nar hasn't done anything with anybody. I would know since I'm his doctor now. Tsunade said, what about the Haug? Tayuya asked, personally, I don't think you need to worry about her. Said, why? Tayuya asked, well, Naruto barely knows she exists. I guarantee if you ask him about her that he would have to think about who she is. Said, I guess. What about the sandbit girl? Tayuya asked. Trust me, Temari and Naruto are just friends. Even when she was in the village a few months ago, they only hung out as friends. Besides, I think she has a thing for Shikamaru anyway. Tsunade said, is it true that she's his only friend? Tayuya asked. Not just her. He's friends with her brothers Gar and Conquer. Mainly Temari and Gar though. Tsunade said, what about me? Tayuya asked. Naruto holds you to a status more than a friend. A few months ago, he nearly fought Danzo when he said, you should be used as a breeding stock for stronger shinobi. It took 2 squads of Ambu to hold him back. Tsunade said, he did that for me. Tayuya asked, yeah, it was quite the scene. That's how I knew that he liked you more than a friend deep down. Said, I guess I'll wait for him to come back. Do you think he's going to be happy to see me? Tayuya asked shyly. I know he'll be happy. The two of you were practically inseparable when he was here. Said, I guess you're right. I thought you were going to be one of those leaders who have a stick shoved up your butt. I was wrong. You're pretty cool. Tayuya said, that's good. Now, I still have to punish you for your little stunt. Said, yeah, I know. How many D-rank missions do I have to do? Tayuya asked, just one. Tsunade said, okay, am I capturing Tora or walking the Inuzuka dogs? Tayuya asked, neither. This mission is for tomorrow night. Tsunade said, but that's the festival. Nobody will need my help with anything. Tayuya said, I know. Tsunade said, fine. What will my punishment be? Tayuya asked, your punishment is to have a good time tomorrow at the festival and not get in trouble. Said, that's it. Tayuya asked, yep. I want a report on how your night went once the festival ends. Tsunade said, okay, thanks big lady. Tayuya said and left. Okay, it's up to you now, Narunade said and looked up, but he wasn't there. Huh, I wonder where he went. Thought Nar. Nar was walking around the Leaf Village and was thinking about the conversation he and Jera overheard. He knew he had feelings for Tayuya. After going back to the land of snow and talking to both Koyuki and Chiong, he sighed and figured he should get Tayuya a gift other than the dress. He walked to the jewelry store and walked in, signaling the bell. Hello there, young man. How may I help you? The lady at the desk said, I'm looking for a gift for my friend. Nar said, of course. Is this a girl you'd like to be your girlfriend? The lady asked. Yes, but it needs to be a gift for tomorrow and her birthday in February. I won't be here, and I know she'll be mad if I don't at least get her a gift. Nar said, I see. Well, I have a necklace here that you can get for her. It's a heart-shaped amethyst set with 3 diamond accents, beautifully framed by round tanzanites. It's crafted with 10K white gold, and the pendant is further enhanced by a trio of tanzanites. The rope chain it comes with is 18 in, and fastens with a spring ring clasp. The lady said, I'll take it, but can I replace the 18 in rope chain with a 20 in rope chain? Nar asked, certainly. Would you like anything else? She asked, no, I think this is everything. Nar said, of course. The lady said, how much? Nar asked, 3,000 yen, the lady said. And Nar paid without hesitation. I hope she likes it. Nar said she will. Oh, and Nar, the lady said. Yeah, Nar asked. Happy birthday, she said and smiled at him. Thank you, Nar said and left the store. October 10th, Nanette's festival. Tayuya was sitting in the apartment looking at all the people outside having fun and she just sighed. If Tsunade wouldn't have ordered her to go to this festival, then she never would have gone. She knew today was Naruto's birthday and what happened to him every year. Speaking of Nar, she couldn't find him at all yesterday and he didn't come home. She asked where he was and she didn't even know where he was. She was brought out of her thoughts by the front door opening and closing. She slowly got up and pulled out a kunai before leaving her room. As soon as she was in the living room, she froze when she saw the person she missed the most smiling at her. Hey there, Tayuya, Nar said, and she ran at him then gave him a hug. Where are you? I was looking for you. Why didn't you bring your home yesterday? Tayuya asked. I had to make a stop and then I was with Pervy Sage the rest of the night. Nar said, what were you two doing? Tayuya asked. Just talking. Nothing unusual. What are you up to? Nar asked. I've been ordered to enjoy myself at the festival. Tayuya said, I see. Here, take this and put this on. Nar said and tossed her a scroll. Why? Tayuya asked. Well, you're going to be my date to the festival. Nar said, what? Tayuya asked and blushed. We're going to the festival together. Come on, we don't have much time before it ends. Nar said, okay, Tayuya said and quickly ran off. Finally, he's taking some initiative. Maybe I can get him to completely fall for me. Tayuya thought and a huge blush spread across her face. 30 minutes later, Tayuya was finally ready to head out and she had to admit that the dress she got from Naruto was nice. It a black A-line style kimono dress that stopped mid-thigh. It had a V neckline that came with a wide panel trimming that crossed over to one side and was complemented with a wide ope belt. It also had oversized sleeves and the short skirt was a tailored hemline. She had on some black suede single-band ankle strap block heel sandals for her footwear that Shizune bought for her. She had her hair tied up in a high ponytail with strands at the sides of her face. All right, you can do this. It's just one date, Tayuya thought. She took a deep breath and then exited her room slowly since she started to get nervous. Naruto heard her heels on the floor and when he looked up, his jaw touched the ground at how beautiful she looked. Tayuya saw him and he didn't get all dressed up, but she wasn't expecting him to. She noticed him staring at her and she couldn't help the blush that came across her face. What the are you staring at? She asked. You look absolutely beautiful, Nar said and walked up to her. Thank you, Tayuya said. Are you ready? Nar asked. She nodded. Yeah, Tayuya said. Festival. Wow, it's so beautiful. Tayuya said, and her eyes sparkled. It certainly is bright, Nar said. Come on, Tayuya said and dragged him to a goldfish scooping game. Hello there. How can I help you? The booth runner said, me and my date would like to play this game. Tayuya said, that'll be 500 yen. The booth runner said, pay the man. Tayuya said, and when Nar went to pay, the man glared at him. Sorry, I meant 5,000 yen. The man said, and Nar smirked. 5,000 yen. Here's 500 and the other 4,500 will be the amount of times my date shoves a rusty canny up your if you keep it up. Nar said, did I say 5,000 yen? I meant that's how many goldfish are in the tank. The man said, now that's more like it. Tayuya said. Tayuya grabbed her appo and began playing the game with Nar following shortly after. As the game progressed, it became a friendly competition between the two, and the loser had to do anything the winner said. If there's one thing Tayuya should have learned during her time in Konoha, it should have been to never bet against Naruto Uzumaki. It was an unwritten rule in Konoha that even the people that hated him never went against. Tayuya wanted to see who could scoop up the most fish and she lost horribly. She managed to scoop up 78 fish until the paper on her poi broke and Nar managed to scoop up 192 fish. Even though she lost, Tayuya was smiling the entire time. Naruto couldn't take his eyes off of her smile, and his heart would skip a beat whenever she looked at him. Once they were done, they returned the fish since they knew the fish would just die. So, where to next? Nar asked, and Tayuya looked around. That one, Tayuya said and dragged Nar to the ring toss booth. How many tries do you each want? The lady asked. 10 tries each. Nar said, okay, that'll be 1,000 yen, she said. Said and Tayuya pulled out some money but Naruto stopped her. I asked you out, remember? I'm paying for everything. Nar said and Tayuya smiled and kissed him on the cheek. Such a lovely young couple. The lady said as Nar paid her. We're not a couple, Tayuya said. Sweetie, I've been around for a while. You two are a couple even if you don't know it. The lady said and handed them 20 rings. These aren't weighed properly. Tayuya said, exactly. This is a ninja village and if I used standard rings then I'd go out of business. This way nobody has an advantage. The lady said makes sense. Nar said they began the game with Nar trying to get the all-you-can-eat for a day ticket from Ichiraku Ramen and Tayuya trying to win the shiny flute. The lady was right when she said nobody would have an advantage. Every time they threw a ring at the prize they wanted, it was so unbalanced that it would go off course or simply fall before hitting the target. Nar would go on to spend 10,000 yen on this game and only Tayuya won her flute. They walked away from the game and Tayuya said she needed to use the bathroom, but she went back to the game and won Nar the ramen ticket. She would give it to him later. What's next? Nar asked. We've been walking around for a while now. Can we grab some food and sit on the Hokage monument? Tayuya asked. Sure, Nar said and grabbed her hand. As they were walking through the crowd, Naruto sensed 3 people following them and knew who 2 of them were. It was Ino and Sakura, but the third one was farther back, and he didn't recognize the chakra. They went to multiple food stands and grabbed as much food as they possibly could. One thing they both had in common was that they could eat a lot of food. They grabbed ikiyaki, grilled squid, yakitori, seasoned chicken on a wooden skewer, karaage, Japanese-style fried chicken, corn on a cob, taiyaki, fish-shaped pastry, chocolate-covered bananas, and of course, they went to the Ichiraku ramen stand for their usual order of 10 bowls of ramen each. As they were walking, Tayuya started to complain about her feet hurting. So, Naruto sealed away their food and carried her bridal style. She wrapped her arms around his neck and laid her head on his chest. As they were walking, Naruto felt his followers' chakra signature get closer and closer to them, which meant that they were running towards him. Tayuya wasn't really paying attention since she was busy listening to Naruto's heartbeat. Nar, Sakura, and Ino yelled, "Great, it's the annoying pink banshee and the prissy blonde." Tayuya mumbled and Nar snickered. What? Nar asked, what are you doing? Ino asked. Trying to enjoy my night. Naruto said, why are you with her? She's the reason Sasuke left the village. Sakura said, I'm with her because she's my date. And for the millionth time, Sasaki left the village on his own. Nar said, she's your date. What about me? Sakura asked, what about you? I don't like you, and I never really did. Nar said, wait, I've never seen a dress like that before. Where's it from? Ino asked, none of your business. Can you 2 leave us alone? We're on a date, Tayuya said and blushed. No, Sakura yelled. Will you just leave us alone? Nar asked. No, this outsider doesn't belong here. Sakura said and Tayuya just placed them under a genjutsu there. Now, let's go, Tayuya said and Naruto vanished. Hokage Monument. I can't believe I've never been up here before. The village looks so beautiful, Tayuya said and put her head on Naruto's shoulder. I know. It's a good spot to hang out at if you ever need to clear your mind. Nar said, I'm guessing this is where you spent most of your days before becoming a ninja. Tayuya said, yeah, sitting on top of the 4th Hokage head always brought me peace for some reason. Naruto said, and Tayuya decided to switch topics. Tsunade told me, you know about my feelings towards you. Tayuya said, I do, but I didn't find out until right before I left for that mission with Pervy Sage. Nar said, how do you feel about me? Tayuya asked, I feel the same. I was thinking about it a lot during my mission, and whenever I would describe you to somebody, I would feel my heartbeat faster and a smile would come onto my face. Nar said, Tsunade told me about what you did for me against Danzo. Tayuya said, I know. Me and Pervy Sage were listening to the conversation outside the window. Nar said, why'd you go so far for me against someone like him? Tayuya asked, because you meant a lot to me. You were my only friend in the village, and I didn't want to lose you. Nar said, and she smiled. So, what are we going to do now? Tayuya asked, I don't know. It's complicated on my end. Nar said, you like someone else, don't you? Tayuya asked, no, I'm leaving tomorrow with Pervy Sage. Nar said, oh, so you have another S-rank mission. That's not bad. That's about a month or 2. I can live with that, I guess. Tayuya said, it's not really a mission. I'll be gone for a while. Nar said, how long is a while? Tayuya asked and Naruto sighed. I'll be gone for nearly 3 years. Nar said, what? Why? Tayuya yelled. I'm going on a training trip to prepare for the Akatsuki. Pervy Sage found out that they'll start their actual plans in 2.5 years, but hopefully with my trip being delayed until now, they can delay their plans as well. Naruto said, I want to come with you. Tayuya said, no, I can't have any distractions on this trip. No offense, but you'll distract me from training as hard as I need to. You're a good distraction, but I just need this to be me and Pervy Sage. Naruto said and Tayuya sighed. What about us? Tayuya asked. I don't know where we go from here. I don't want to start a relationship and then leave for nearly 3 years. I'll feel like I'm abandoning you. Nar said and Tayuya pulled him in for a kiss that lasted for about 30 seconds. You won't be abandoning me. I'll be the first person you see when you return. I just want to be with you. You saved my life and made me a better person. I love you and I don't want anyone else to be able to call me their girlfriend. You changed me and brought back the sweet loving side of me I locked away. When I'm around you, I don't have to be the tough _, all the broke down all of my barriers without even trying. And people have been trying to break me for years. That's why Orochimaru made me one of his most trusted shinobi. He couldn't even break my barriers down. You managed to do what they couldn't in mere weeks, but never picked up on the fact that I fell in love with you. Tayuya said and started to cry. I don't see how I could reject you after that. I'm not really good at this since it's all kind of new to me, but I love you, too. At first, it was the red hair that attracted me to you. And then it became much more. It was your laugh, your joking around, the playful fighting, and even the cooking lessons I gave you. Even when I would look into your brown eyes, I'd find myself getting lost in them. If anybody would have told me that I'd fall in love with somebody who used to be our enemy, I'd tell them that there's no way that would happen. Then I met you, Nar said and wiped away her tears. So this means what exactly? Tayuya asked, will you be my girlfriend? Tayuya. Nar asked and she nodded. Yes. Now come and kiss me, you adorable blonde. Tayuya said, and when Naruto pulled her in for a kiss, the festival's fireworks started to go off. There's one more thing Nar said as they broke the kiss. What's that? Tayuya asked and Naruto pulled out the necklace he bought. I bought this for you yesterday. I know your birthday is coming up in February and I won't be there, but I got this for an early birthday gift for you. Nar said it's beautiful. Tayuya said and Nar put it on her. Not as beautiful as you. Nar said and gave her a kiss. I also have a gift for you. Tayuya said and pulled out the ramen ticket. No way. Nar yelled and Tayuya laughed at him. Happy birthday, Nar. Tayuya said and gave him a kiss. Best birthday ever, Nar said. You know, I thought I'd have to compete for you. I thought you had something going on with Hinata and Temari. Tayuya said, nah, me and Temari are really good friends. I'd say she's more like a sister, actually. As for Hinata, I barely know her and I forget that she even exists. Nar said, what about Koyuki? She kissed you. Tayuya said, I know she likes me, but she understood that you had my heart, even if I didn't realize it. Nar said, do you like her? Tayuya asked, I won't lie to you. I did tell her that if I never met you, then she'd be the one I'd most likely be with. She's a nice girl and even though she doesn't have the red hair how I always imagined my girlfriend having, she'd be the exception. Nar said, did you sleep with her? Tayuya asked and Naruto sighed. Yeah. Nar said, why? Tayuya asked. Well, it was after the first mission I had with her. I protected her from her uncle and a chunin that was on the mission with me. He put her under genjutsu and was going to have her have with him. After that, me and Koyuki went to have a few drinks and we slept together. After that, Naruto said, you mean to tell me that Princess Koyuki is the first person you had with, and you never even bragged about it? Tayuya asked, I guess I don't see the point in doing that. You're not mad at me now, are you? Nar asked, no, I can't be mad at you for something you did before we even got together. At that time, you didn't even know I liked you, so it would be stupid of me to be angry with you. Just promise me that I'll be the only person you'll be with from now on. Tayuya said, I promise. Nar said, and gave her a kiss. There's just one more thing. Big Tit said you didn't sleep with anybody and that she would know since she's your doctor. Tayuya said, listen, she's like my mother, so it's clear that I wouldn't tell her something like that despite her being my doctor. That would just open up a book of awkward questions from her. Nar said and Tayuya nodded. I guess you're right. Tayuya said, what about you? Nar asked. No, I've only had eyes for you since I came to this village. Yafu Chunin have tried to get me in bed for a quick, but I rejected them, and when they didn't take too kindly to that, I'd kick them in the nuts. Tayuya said, and Naruto laughed. Did you add chakra to the kick? Nar asked. Damn it. I should have done that. Anyway, let's go home. Since you're leaving tomorrow, I think it's only fair that I cuddle with you tonight. Tayuya said, sure, Nar said. Make sure you activate the barrier in our apartment. I don't want any sound interrupting my quiet time. Tayuya said, and Naruto picked her up the vanished. Next day, do you have everything? Sununade asked. Yes. For the 1000th time, Naruto said, maybe you should double-check CK. Said, and Naruto sighed. I have everything I need. Nar said, okay. Sununade said and looked at Jera, who was looking at the sky. Hey, Tayuya said as Naruto walked up to her and he could tell she was sad. Don't be sad. Time will fly by and I'll be back before you even realize I was gone. Nar said and gave her a hug. Don't you forget about me. Tayuya said, I won't. I'll try to send you messages, but I make no promises. Nar said, it's okay. I know you'll be getting strong to protect yourself. Tayuya said, not just myself. I have to protect you as well. You're my girlfriend after all. Nar said, and she smiled that I am, but don't think you'll be the only one getting stronger. Tayuya said, I know you'll train hard. Listen, can you at least try to add some taijutsu and enjutsu to your repertoire? Nar asked. I'll see what I can do. Tayuya said, I better get going. I don't want pervy sage to blow a gasket. Nar said and Tayuya hugged him tighter. I'm going to miss you. Tayuya said, I'll miss you, too, Nar said and gave her a kiss. When you're gone, read some of those books. They'll come in handy for when you come back. Tayuya said and Nar smirked. What makes you think I need to read them? Nar asked. Did you? Tayuya asked. Nope. I had the talk with Anko and she taught me plenty of stuff. Plus, I did sleep with Koyuki. Nar said and smacked her on her butt. That is true. You win this round. I'm going to make you put that one-time experience to use when you get back. Tayuya said, I never took you for the submissive type. Tayuya, Naruto said, and she blushed. You Tayuya said and gave him a big kiss. All right, love birds, that's enough. Nar, we need to get a move on. Jiraiya said, here I come. Nar said, I love you. Tayuya said, I love you, too. Nar replied and gave her one last kiss. Take care of him while you're gone. Said and gave Jiraiya a hug. Don't worry, he's in good hands. Jiraiya said, I know. Maybe when you get back we can go out for some drinks. I'll hold you to it. Jiraiya said and they broke the hug. Come on, pervy sage. Nar said and vanished. Stop calling me that, Jiraiya yelled and chased after him. Those two will never change said and then narrowed her eyes as her shirt felt different. What's wrong? Tayuya asked. My bra is missing. Jiraiya, I'm going to kick your Sade yelled and she knew he heard her. 106 centimeters. Jiraiya yelled back and Sununade blushed while Tayuya started to laugh. Listen to Yuya. Over these next 2.5 years, you'll be going through hard training. I'm offering to personally teach you. Do you accept it? Asked. Actually, I was going to ask if I can join that little medical enjutsu program you have. It seems interesting. Tayuya said, of course. Now, I'll teach you as much as I can, but I already know you're not going to be a medical ninja. I'll still train you, but you won't be my actual apprentice since the slugs will only accept those who will become healers since that is what they are mainly used for. Sununade said, that's okay. When do we start? Tayuya asked, tomorrow. Meet me in my office at 5 a.m., said and walked away. Tayuya stood at the gate for a few more minutes before walking away and pulling out the necklace Naruto gave her. She would get stronger just like him and work harder than she ever has before. She saw Hinata standing behind a pole and then smirked when Hinata tried to glare at her. She kept walking and when she got home, she grabbed one of his jackets and put it on since it was warm and had his scent on it. She let out a sigh and then looked at the picture of them made them take. It was going to be a long 2 years for. So guys, what do you think about this Naruto story? Tell me your opinion in the comments. And if you want more Naruto what if stories, make sure to subscribe to Universe of Naruto. Thanks for watching.